Chapter 799. Run? 799 run. He ran away? Just like that? Feng Wu was baffled. She didn't expect the team leader to bolt. She had set up a series of traps and gadgets in the temple, which had taken her quite a while, but her target had run off without triggering any of them. The guy didn't become the leader of Blade for nothing. He's really cautious. Feng Wu shook her head regretfully. However, he had been poisoned and wouldn't be able to run very far. After the miserable pursuit she had endured, it was finally time for Feng Wu to strike back. Hence, Feng Wu left quickly and went after the team leader. The team leader struggled to keep moving forward. He had realized by now that 2, 5, and 10 were all dead, and he was the only one left in his group. It just so happened that he had been poisoned. That toxin. The moment he thought about it, he couldn't help but spit out a mouthful of blood. This wasn't good at all. That abominable girl. The team leader gritted his teeth, wanting to cut Feng Wu into little pieces. However, there wasn't anything he could do at the moment except get back to his other team members as soon as possible. Luckily, they had a special means of communication, and they roughly knew where the other team members were. The team had split into 3 groups. 2, 5, and 10 headed north. 3, 6, and 9 headed south. 4, 7, and 8 headed west. The other 2 groups were all that was left of Blade. The team couldn't afford to lose any more members and had to stick together. The team leader sent out a distress signal. A distress signal? 3 was the head of the team heading south, and his stomach lurched when he received the signal. He confirmed it with the other 2 members. Did you receive that? Captain's distress signal. Yes. I think he might have run into the real Feng Wu. But we've almost caught up to our target. Are we going to give up now? You idiot. There's only one Feng Wu, and if Captain has found the real one, then we're running after a fake one. Right. Enough with your right. Get back to Captain already. The group gathered together and headed north. Meanwhile, the group heading west received the same signal. Captain's distress signal. He's the most powerful cultivator of us all. How? Something must be terribly wrong. Quick, let's go back to the rendezvous point. Where's that? Captain said to meet him where the Qilin Beast and Icefire Beast fought. Quickly, the group in the south gave up on chasing Little Phoenix, and the group in the west stopped pursuing the cub. Both groups headed for the place where the Qilin Beast and Icefire Beast fought each other to death, for that was where the 3 routes met. Feng Wu tailed the team leader and kept her distance. Judging by the direction he was heading in, she knew what he was up to right away. Just then, Feng Wu heard Little Phoenix's voice in her head. They're heading back. They're coming your way. Little Feng Wu, they must have realized you're the real one, and they're coming for you. Run. Meanwhile, the cub's voice joined in. Roar, they left. As her spiritual pets, Little Phoenix and the cub could both send her telepathic messages, as long as they weren't too far apart. An idea struck Feng Wu. They have to meet up where the Qilin Beast and Icefire Beast died. Follow them, but don't get too close. Chapter 800 Now or Never. 800 Now or Never. What about you? Are you going to die? Little Phoenix and the cub's voices were full of concern. Staring at a big blue dot on the map, Feng Wu smiled enigmatically. I have an idea. As the team leader ran off, Feng Wu doubled back and headed the other way, toward a blue dot. If she had guessed right, that represented a magical beast, and the size of the dot indicated how capable it was. However, why would such a capable magical beast enter Zone 2? What was it looking for? Its cub, perhaps? The dot wasn't too far away, and Feng Wu quickly headed its way. In less than 15 minutes, Feng Wu was less than 1 kilometer away from the blue dot. She hid under a pile of snow and looked out through a little hole. She saw a giant Qilin Beast. It was covered in ice, and its scales glittered in the light. The look in its eyes was sharp, murderous, and ferocious. And anxious. This Qilin Beast looked a lot like the dead Qilin Beast cub. It snuffled around with a frown. Feng Wu's eyes lit up. If she had guessed correctly, this Qilin Beast was looking for that cub. An idea struck Feng Wu when she realized that. Members of Blade were heading for the rendezvous point. She wouldn't have gotten this idea if they were going somewhere else. However, they had picked that spot, which gave Fengwu a lot of room to maneuver. The Qilin beast followed the scent as it searched for its cub. Fengwu estimated that it would reach the spot where its kid died in 2 hours. After the Qilin beast left, Fengwu quickly jumped out of the snow and headed for the rendezvous point via another route. She needed to make some preparations in order to make use of that beast. If she did it right, she would be able to get rid of all of Blade in one go. They had already learned that she had regained her abilities. If she let them leave alive, they would inform the Zwolf family. And when that happened, she would have to face a lot more than just a team of hitmen. All her worst fears would come true. Therefore, every single member of Blade had to die. She couldn't afford any mistakes. Fengwu outlined her plan on her way to the rendezvous point, and it was a complicated, interconnected stratagem. An hour later, the team leader was the first to arrive. The journey here had exhausted him. His legs gave out, and he fell onto a pile of snow, panting loudly. He found a mask too suffocating, and he was having a hard time breathing, so he ripped the black cloth off his face. His face had turned a bluish color and was speckled all over, which was a terrifying look that reminded one of livor mortis. The team leader struggled to breathe. Wrapping his hand around his throat, he tried to throw up, but couldn't. Darkness filled his vision. Just when he thought he was going to pass out, the group from the south was the first to arrive. Captain? 3 was the leader of the group, and he led 6 and 9 back in a hurry. Captain, what happened? Why did you take off your mask? 3 put the mask back on his leader. After all, hitmen like them weren't supposed to show their faces to anyone. Chapter 801 Dawn T Chase Me. 801 Dawn T Chase Me. The families of their victims might try to take revenge if they knew what the hitmen looked like. Moreover, Imperial College's system was monitoring all candidates, and Blade could be spotted at any moment. The team leader took a deep breath, then said in broken words, "You kill." Fengwu. 3 cried out in surprise. Captain, did you run into Fengwu? Where are the others? Where are 2, 5, and 10? 10 had been leading the team this whole time, and everyone trusted him. Dead, they're all dead. What? The South group was baffled. How? Their captain was poisoned, and 2, 5, and 10 were all dead. Did Fengwu do this? Is that girl even human? How is that even possible? They couldn't believe their ears. The team leader took a deep breath, trying to clear his mind. It was such a long story, and revealing the truth would only make them look incompetent, so the team leader decided to keep it to himself. With a wave of his hand, he said to 3, "You must be careful. That girl is so cunning." Captain, have you been poisoned? Let's wait until everyone's here. She won't be able to trick all of us, no matter how cunning she is. Captain, get some rest. Let's work on the antidote first. The others agreed with 3. Before long, the West group joined them. Blade was still a capable team, for most of its members were still alive. The team leader 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, and 9 were all alive, and everyone except for the team leader were still in good condition. Fengwu would have no hope if they spotted her. All of a sudden, what's that? For the most sharp-eyed among them all, spotted a shadow in the snow, and he jumped to his feet. Fengwu had hidden under the snow once before, and he was alarmed right away. Seeing 4 come at her like a ferocious tiger, Fengwu jumped out and bolted. That astonished everyone. Oh God, that's Fengwu. That's really her. Go get her. Fengwu. She didn't run away. She was right here. She killed 2, 5, and 10. Get her and avenge them. The team members were shocked. They never expected Fengwu to be this audacious. The team leader was furious. Catch her. You have to catch her. Hence 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, and 9 all dashed off after Fengwu. Fengwu ran as fast as the wind. She warned the team members over her shoulder as she ran. Don't chase me. I'm warning you. Stop chasing me. 3 smirked. Don't chase you? You wish. 4 said, stop running now, and I'll make it quick. Fengwu rolled her eyes. Quick or not, you're going to kill me. Stop right there. I won't. Stop. I won't. 3 was speechless. Did the girl think they were making fun of her? This was a pursuit. Fengwu looked over her shoulder as she ran. Stop chasing me already. You've been warned. You'll regret this. 3 found it preposterous. You brat. Is that what you want to say before you die? Fengwu looked very innocent. I mean it. Don't chase me and stop right there. Otherwise, you'll be in a lot of trouble. Chapter 802. 802 IC. 802 IC. Are you really not going to leave me alone? Fengwu said in resignation. You brat. One of us has to die today, and it's going to be you. 3 couldn't understand what Fengwu's nagging was about. The members of Blade ran very fast, and Fengwu was slightly slower in comparison, even as she was doing her best. Before long, she was surrounded by the team. The 6 men circled Fengwu, and there was a ferocious look in their eyes. 3 grinned grimly. Kid, what'd I tell you? Stop running. But you wouldn't listen. Here we are. 4 grinned ominously as well. What did you say would happen if we caught you? Do tell. You're all going to die. Fengwu stared at them and said in a calm voice. Uh-huh. The hitmen guffawed. That was the most ridiculous thing they had ever heard. We've surrounded you, and we're going to die? Are you an idiot or what? 3 cut the crap. Get the antidote from her. Yes. 3 rushed over to Fengwu's side and grabbed her by the arm. He hesitated for a brief moment when he took her arm. This was much easier than he had expected. This girl had poisoned their team leader and killed 2, 5, and 10. She should be very difficult to catch, but he caught her, just like that. 3 caught her. The others closed in right away. However, just then, blood poured down on their heads. It happened too suddenly, and they didn't have enough time to react. 3, 4, 6, all 6 men more or less had some blood on them. 3 had it the worst. Being the closest to Fengwu, he got most of the blood over him. It was all over his head, his face, and his clothes. His face looked as if someone had painted it red. Everyone stared at Fengwu in disbelief. What the hell? The blood is poisonous. 3 and the others jumped backward at that thought. They still circled Fengwu, but not as close as before. Everyone glared at Fengwu, but they looked hesitant as well. It's not poisonous, but what? But it's worse than poison. Fengwu grinned. 3 narrowed his eyes. What blood is it? Just then, 4 cried out, Isn't this Chilan beast's blood? Can you feel the dense spiritual essence? 6 said, Gosh, I suddenly have the urge to make a breakthrough. Am I the only one? No, you're not. I have the same urge. They exchanged looks of amazement. They thought that Fengwu had poisoned them. However, she offered them something that would benefit their cultivation. I see. 4 cried out. Chapter 803, Abandon Hope. 803, Abandon Hope. 4 cried out. I see. Fengwu is trying to distract us with bribery. That way, we'll be busy cultivating and won't have time to go after her. He then stared at Fengwu. You brat. Am I right? Fengwu only smiled at him without saying a word. That only made for more certain of himself. He turned to his teammates. I was right. That's her plan. 3 stared at Fengwu. He didn't think it could be that simple. Fengwu looked too sure of herself. And she shouldn't be. She should look flustered and perplexed, and should be shaking all over. However, her eyes were twinkling, as if victory lay within her grasp, and she was planning how to celebrate. What on earth are you trying to do? The more 3 thought about it, the more disturbed he became. Instead of answering him, Fengwu looked around at the team and said, You don't get a chance to level up every day. Are you sure you're going to waste this opportunity? You can kill me any time you want, but I can't say the same about making a breakthrough. And the others exchanged hesitant looks. 3 bellowed. What are you all waiting for? Have you forgotten how cunning this girl is? Kill her. The team leader wasn't here, and 2 was dead, which made 3 the one who called the shots. Instantly, everyone charged at Fengwu in unison. Fengwu spun, then jumped out of the circle. You're not going anywhere. 3 bellowed. He knew it. The girl was bluffing. The hell with not chasing her and the consequences. She made everything up. I mean it. You'll regret chasing me in a moment. Feng Wu shouted as she ran. 3, and the others couldn't be bothered to talk back anymore. The only thing they could think of now was catching up to Feng Wu, then kill her. Feng Wu thought to herself as she ran, where is that Qilin beast? With its keen nose, it should have picked up the scent of the cub's blood and caught up with them by now. Thump! 3 ran the fastest, and he struck out at Feng Wu from behind with a fist. Thump! He was much more capable than Feng Wu. As a matter of fact, any individual of Blade was a more advanced cultivator than she was. The impact sent Feng Wu flying forward. Thump! Her body arced in the air, and she flew over a low hill before falling into a pile of snow on the other side. Feng Wu spat out a mouthful of blood. That 3 was such a formidable hitman. Feng Wu rubbed her back. If she hadn't dodged in time to protect her main organs, or had failed to make good use of the momentum to quickly move forward, she would probably be dead by now. Dear Qilin Beast, show up now, or I'll really be killed. 3, and the others caught up to Feng Wu before she was out of the pit. You brat, this is your last day on Earth. 3's sword glinted in the sun. Feng Wu's stomach lurched. She had done all she could to stall, but apparently she needed to stall for a bit longer. Did the Zhou family send you? Feng Wu stared at them with piercing eyes. But 3 didn't want to give her an answer. If you're going to kill me, at least tell me what I'm going to be killed for. The Zhou family sent you, didn't they? Feng Wu glared at them. 3 smirked. You really want to know? Chapter 804, You Re Not Getting Away. 804 You Re Not Getting Away. Feng Wu nodded, the look on her face very serious. Just tell me, yes or no? 3 snorted. I don't care how you want to die. There's no way I'm going to leak my client's information. You're so naive. Die. Just as 3 snarled and leapt up, all of a sudden, something bellowed a short distance away. It was a blood-curdling sound, and the thing making that noise sounded furious. It was ready to kill. Instantly, everyone turned around involuntarily. There, a powerful magical beast was running wildly in their direction, and there was a murderous air around it, which they could sense even at a distance. The beast was coming right at them. No, it's a Qilin beast, and a fully grown one. Is it coming for Feng Wu? I think so. It's going to kill Feng Wu. We better get out of the way. Wait, no one had seen it coming, but that Qilin beast caught up with them and jumped at 9. Whoosh! It raised both front paws and slashed down at 9. Poor 9. He was torn in half before he saw it coming. That shocked everyone. What the heck? Wasn't the Qilin beast after Feng Wu? Why had one of them been killed? What did they do? Shit. 3 then remembered the blood on them, and he panicked. The blood. We're covered in the blood of its cub. That answered the question for everyone. It was Feng Wu. She had splashed the blood all over them. For had been so confident and claimed that Feng Wu did it so that they would be busy cultivating instead of chasing her. Only then did they realize what Feng Wu really had in mind. She had been waiting for this moment. Gritting his teeth, 3 yelled at the Qilin beast. Feng Wu killed your cub. We have nothing to do with it. She's the one. However, when 3 pointed at the spot where he thought Feng Wu was nowhere to be found. Feng Wu, 3 bellowed. She did this on purpose. She had lured the Qilin beast here. No wonder she had been yelling about not chasing her. This was why. Feng Wu, that cunning girl. Thump. The Qilin beast couldn't care less about the grudges between these human beings. The blood was the only thing it could think of. A Qilin beast's blood. The amount suggested that its cub was already dead. These stupid, abominable humans had killed it. How dare you hurt my child? How dare you? The look on the Qilin beast's face was ferocious as it spoke in a deep, murderous voice. No, we didn't. It wasn't us. 3 tried to explain, but his words were futile. They were covered in the cub's blood, which was irrefutable evidence. Nothing he said could exonerate them. Thump. As expected, the Qilin beast ignored what 3 said. It raised a front paw and smacked 7 to the ground. For glared at the Qilin beast with utter hatred when he saw that half of 7's face was gone. He then shouted at his remaining teammates, It already believes that we killed its cub, and we can't change its mind. We need to fight it together. Although they didn't want to, the others had to admit that this was the reality they had to face now. We can still run. No, we've been marked by the Chelan beast, 3 said in a terrifyingly calm voice. Once marked, we'll never be able to get out of proud Snowfield alive. It'll hunt us down one by one. Chapter 805, You Re Gonna Die. 805, You Re Gonna Die. Since they couldn't run, there was only one option left. 3 ground his teeth. We have to kill this Chelan beast. The beast and them. Only one side could live. Where's Feng Wu? For gritted his teeth. After luring the Chelan beast here, the girl just disappeared. She's gone. Everyone was speechless. As a matter of fact, Feng Wu hadn't run off. She was hiding in a pile of snow a short distance away. She had no blood on her and wasn't marked. She could leave whenever she wanted. Roar! The Chelan beast growled, then quickened its steps. 3 said, Everyone together! Thump! 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 It was a fierce battle. Before long, blood was everywhere. The members wanted to fight against the beast together, but when the actual fight started, it was like an inexorable landslide. They stopped trying once they saw that death was inevitable. Instead, they turned to flee. 3 headed east, for west, 6 north, and 7. Everyone picked a different direction, and they ran as fast as they could. For it could be the last time they would ever be able to run in their lives. They knew perfectly well that they had been marked by the Chelan beast, but they wouldn't give up hope just like that. Even if they had to die, they had to take Feng Wu down with them. Whoosh! Feng Wu saw the Chelan beast pounce at 6 from behind. She smiled a little. They wanted to kill her? Sorry about that, but she wasn't that easy to kill. Feng Wu knew that with the Chelan beast's speed and capabilities, it wouldn't be long before 4 and 3 met their ends. However, there was one more person left, the team leader. He had stayed behind because of the poison, and he hadn't been tainted by the cub's blood. So, Feng Wu strolled off and arrived at the rendezvous point a few moments later. The team leader was no longer there. Do you really think you can run from me? Feng Wu smiled a little. Ah, the tiger cub waved its paws. It then spoke to Feng Wu in her head. I know where he is. I know. Feng Wu waved her hand. Let's go. Yes. Feng Tutu darted off right away. This trip to proud Snowfield had benefited Feng Tutu greatly. Speed had always been its forte, and it was now quicker than a streak of lightning. Even Feng Wu had a hard time keeping up with it. Before long, she saw a figure up ahead. It was the team leader of Blade. In front of him was a frozen river. Sensing the hostility, he turned around to find Feng Wu behind him. He frowned. Feng Wu. Staring at Feng Wu, the team leader had a murderous look on his face. Feng Wu stopped when she was 10 meters away and smiled at the guy. That's me. Overwhelmed by hatred, the team leader wanted to tear Feng Wu to pieces. You killed 2, 5, and 10. Feng Wu nodded. And you poisoned me. Feng Wu nodded again. Seeing the unperturbed look on Feng Wu's face, the team leader was furious. You're very calm, but you're going to die. Is that so? Crossing her arms, Feng Wu darted an unhurried look at the team leader. There are 10 of us. You killed 3, but there are 7 more. Oh, do you mean the dead bodies of 3, 4, and the others? Feng Wu asked casually. Chapter 806, Dead. 806 dead. Dead bodies? His face turned livid. What did you say? Feng Wu smiled. Captain, do you really need me to repeat it? You. The team leader's gaze was sharper than a blade. His face looked stiff, and he looked as if he was going to throw up. What did you do to them? Nothing. Feng Wu smiled. The Chelan beast is eating them up as we speak. Chelan beast? Isn't it dead? The team leader frowned. Well, the dead one was a cub, and its dad is here now. But they didn't kill the cub. Feng Wu nodded. I know. Why? Too bad. They were covered in the cub's blood. Feng Wu shrugged. The cub's blood. The team leader then remembered something. That was it. That was why the burnt corpse of the cub looked strangely shriveled. so much so that he hadn't been able to draw any blood. Feng Wu had drained it already. You. You took its blood, then? Yes. You. The team leader stared at Feng Wu, as if he was seeing a ghost. That was to say, she had planned everything from the very start. Was she even human? How could anyone be this scheming? The team leader could taste blood in his mouth. He glared at Feng Wu, but was unable to utter a word. Feng Wu smiled. Do you know why I told you that? Why? Because you deserve to know why you're going to die. After that, with a wave of Feng Wu's hand, a bottle landed at the team leader's feet. Feng Wu smiled. I put your antidote in the blood of that Qilin beast. She was giving him a choice. The blood could neutralize the poison, but it would draw the parent Qilin beast here. Your choice. Feng Wu waved at him, then left with a grin. What? The team leader stood there, utterly befuddled. He couldn't believe how evil the girl was. To use the blood or not, that was the question. If he didn't use it, he would die from the poison, but if he drank it, that Qilin beast would be after him for revenge. What should he do? In the end, the team leader decided that he would use it. For once the poison was neutralized, he still had a chance to get out of here alive, as long as he could survive the next 3 days. At that thought, he found a snow pit to hide in, then down the blood in one go. Gurgle. As soon as he swallowed the blood, spiritual essence erupted like a volcano. It quickly ran through all his energy channels. How terrifying this power was. The spiritual essence was so dense. Instantly, the team leader felt the urge to break through to the next level. He needed the extra strength, now more than ever, and he began to work on it right away. But the Qilin beast had killed off almost all the members of Blade. 9 and 8 were killed, followed by 6 and 7. 4 died after that. So did 3. However, that wasn't enough for the Qilin beast to vent its anger. It sniffed the air again. It could still detect the scent of its cub's blood. Following the scent, Qilin beast headed for the frozen river. Chapter 807. Oh no. 807 oh no. The team leader was thrilled. He was going to make a breakthrough very soon. After that, he would be able to get out of here. And then, just when he was overwhelmed with joy, smack, a giant paw landed in front of him. A shadow then blocked his field of vision. The team leader looked up at the Qilin beast in disbelief. Have you seen my child? The beast said in human language. At the Qilin beast level, it had enough spirituality to speak the common language that human beings used on this continent. And no, the team leader shook his head repeatedly. No, Qilin beast smacked the team leader in the head. The team leader was dazed by the impact, and he could see stars. The next moment, he spat out a mouthful of blood. Because he drank the Qilin blood, this parent Qilin beast hadn't been able to sense anything on him. It was only here to ask around, but it then saw the blood. It had a scent unique to Qilin beasts. Qilin beast raised a front paw and stared at the team leader in disbelief. The team leader was stupefied. The Qilin beast's face turned livid. You killed my child. It stared at the team leader with a murderous look in its eyes. The beast had its own line of thinking. The human beings it had killed earlier were no match for a child. Therefore, those people had to have a leader. And the leader was right here in front of it. How dare you? Die! Thump! 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 A fight broke out between the beast and the man. Hiding in a snow pit a short distance away, Feng Wu watched the battle in trepidation. Luckily, she had found the team leader as a scapegoat. Otherwise, she wouldn't be able to handle this Qilin beast all by herself. It wasn't me. I didn't kill you, child. It was Feng Wu. In that moment of life and death, the team leader cast his work ethic aside and sold Feng Wu out without hesitation. Who's Feng Wu? The Qilin beast frowned. She's a teenage human girl, and the team leader then described what Feng Wu looked like. He insisted. She was the one who murdered your child. I swear. Thump. The Qilin beast smacked the team leader's head again. A teenage human girl in a red robe. Yes, that's right. That stupid girl did it. The team leader went on. She gave me the blood, and she killed your child. Shall I take you to her? Feng Wu's stomach lurched. Shit. If the Qilin beast marked her as a target, she wouldn't be able to go anywhere in the next 3 days. Right at that moment, fool! Qilin beast smashed down on the team leader's chest. The team leader stared at the Qilin beast in disbelief. He had told the truth. That girl is a mere level 5 spiritual grandmaster. How could she have killed my child? The Qilin beast found this human being abominable. Not only did he kill its child, he had also tried to put the blame on another person. You're going to die a miserable death. The Qilin beast gave its verdict. Once the team leader was dead, Fengwu took a deep breath, then turned to leave. However, at that moment, where do you think you're going? A deep voice rang out behind Fengwu. Fengwu shuddered. Seriously? That Qilin beast again? Had it found out that its cub had been? Fengwu bolted. However, she was only able to take a few steps before the Qilin beast grabbed the back of her collar and picked her up like a chicken. Chapter 808. Fengwu is in trouble. 808 Fengwu is in trouble. Fengwu, a teenage human girl in a red robe. The Qilin beast said in an affirmative voice. Shit. Fengwu's stomach lurched. What the team leader had said worked. The Qilin beast had decided to kill all possible suspects without even bothering to try and verify their innocence. Turning around, Fengwu looked up at the Qilin beast with an innocent look on her face. Qilin beast snorted. Why aren't you trying to run away? Fengwu said innocently. Why should I run? You had nothing to do with the death of my child. No, I swear, I had nothing to do with it. Fengwu raised both hands to prove her innocence. Qilin beast snorted, then took off with Fengwu. Hey, where are you taking me? Hello, Fengwu cried out in despair. Meanwhile, in front of the screen, after making sure that there weren't any outsiders, Grand Secretary Fong finally switched the camera back to Fengwu. And he blanched as soon as he saw what was happening. Fengwu had been picked up by a powerful Qilin beast, and it was between Zone 2 and Zone 1. That was to say, this Qilin beast was a spiritual elder at least. Xiao has been captured by that thing. Priest Wu stared at the screen, his eyes popping out. That's not good at all. Grand Secretary Fong agreed with Priest Wu. Things were getting out of hand. Back in the snowfield. What do you want from me? Fengwu stared at the Qilin beast in trepidation. Throwing Fengwu on its back, the Qilin beast dashed off at lightning speed. There was nothing to block her on the beast's back, so Fengwu wanted to jump off from there. To her amazement, she was stopped by a force resembling a magnetic field which surrounded her. She couldn't find any opening in it. She had no way to escape. In front of the screen, Grand Secretary Fong's and Priest Wu's faces looked very grim. Grand Secretary Fong said, Oh God, the Qilin beast is taking Xiao Wu back to its nest. Priest Wu asked, but why? Does it want her as its wife? Grand Secretary Fong wanted to smack Priest Wu on the head. If I'm guessing right, it needs her as a blood sacrifice, said Grand Secretary Fong after a brief moment of silence. A blood sacrifice. That Qilin beast talked about a dead cub, and Qilin beasts have a special skill. Grand Secretary Fong stared at Priest Wu. They can summon the soul of a dead cub and insert it into a human body, if that body is compatible with the soul. Priest Wu blanched. What happens after that? After that, the cub and Xiao Wu will compete over her body. But do you think the Qilin beast will let Xiao Wu win? Grand Secretary Fong's voice trembled. Where did you learn such things? Priest Wu asked in bewilderment. Because I know a person who once provoked a Qilin beast who almost... Grand Secretary Fong took a deep breath. No, this can't wait any longer. I'm going to court now. The terrain could only be reopened with Emperor Wu's consent. Otherwise, even Grand Secretary Fong, head of Imperial College, didn't have the authority to change the rules. Grand Secretary Fong went to court in a hurry. In the Imperial Palace, Fong had gone to the Empress Dowager to pick something up for Jun Lin Yuan, and he ran into Grand Secretary Fong on his way back. He recalled that Grand Secretary Fong had mentioned some abnormal activity during the physical tryout. Little Fengwu was in that terrain at the moment, and His Royal Highness was all about Fengwu's safety. Grand Secretary Fong greeted the old man. Grand Secretary Fong almost jumped when he saw Feng. Chapter 809 His Royal Highness 809 His Royal Highness. As His Royal Highness's closest servant, Feng had always kept his distance from other people. Why would he greet Grand Secretary Fong now? But Grand Secretary Fong had no time for small talk at the moment. He greeted Feng with a nod, then continued toward the Imperial Palace. But Feng wouldn't let him go just like that. Is there a problem with the physical tryout? Feng asked the question in a casual tone. Grand Secretary Fong didn't want to tell him at first, but he then realized that Feng represented Jun Lin Yuan, and if Jun Lin Yuan wanted to know something, even His Majesty wouldn't be able to keep it from him. Grand Secretary Fong sighed in resignation. Xiao Wu is in trouble. I need to talk to His Majesty now. Xiao Wu. Feng's worst fears had just come true. It really was about little Feng Wu. Feng rubbed his forehead as he watched Grand Secretary Fong leave in a hurry. The Crown Prince's residence. Jun Lin Yuan was drawing in his study. He was an excellent painter, and this painting had a swordplay manual hidden in it. Those who were able to comprehend the painting might be able to make a breakthrough in their cultivation. As it turned out, those paintings in World Tower really were his work. However, at that moment, the Crown Prince was very grumpy. Whoosh! A heavy stroke turned an autumn drizzle into a destructive storm. Such was the painting Feng saw when he entered the study. The mountain is filled with sword energy after an autumn rain. What a wonderful painting, Feng said with a smile as he crossed his hands behind his back. Jun Lin Yuan threw a dirty look at Feng. Then, with a wave of his hand, the painting was burnt to ashes. Shut up, Feng said. Your Royal Highness. Actually, I said shut up. Are you deaf? Jun Lin Yuan was in a foul mood. Feng rubbed his nose and wanted to add something. Jun Lin Yuan glared at him. Out! Feng walked out of the room in resignation. Granny Gong rolled her eyes at Feng. You know what His Royal Highness has been like these days. Why did you do that? Crossing his hands behind his back, Feng feigned an indifferent voice. Sigh. It's just that I heard news about little Feng Wu from Imperial College. In the study, Jun Lin Yuan's grip tightened on the painting brush. Granny Gong was concerned. Miss Wu? What happened? Miss Wu is in big trouble, Feng said in a worried tone. What? Granny Gong cried out. Creak. The door opened, and Jun Lin Yuan's cold voice rang out. Get your ass in here. Rubbing his nose, Feng gave Granny Gong a knowing look, smiled, then went into the study. What was all that about? Jun Lin Yuan went back to his painting, as if he couldn't care less. Feng sighed. It was Imperial College. Your Royal Highness, that's not your responsibility, and really, there's nothing to talk about. Nothing to talk about? Jun Lin Yuan stared at Feng, then tossed the paintbrush to the side. Spill it. Rubbing his nose, Feng chuckled inwardly, but still feigned a resigned look. There was a rumor before this that a frosty night beast was going to wake up in Proud Snowfield, the terrain which Imperial College chose this year. I know, Jun Lin Yuan frowned, but it hasn't yet. Feng nodded. Don't stop there, Jun Lin Yuan snapped. Feng had said something about little Feng Wu being in trouble, and that was all Jun Lin Yuan cared about. Feng went on. I ran into Grand Secretary Fong on my way back from the Imperial Palace. He seemed to be in a hurry, so I asked him about it. Chapter 810 Astonished 810 Astonished. Then, Jun Lin Yuan frowned at Feng. According to Grand Secretary Fong, little Feng Wu has been abducted by a Qilin beast at the spiritual elder stage. It's going to draw her soul out of her body and replace it with the soul of its dead cub. The look on Jun Lin Yuan's face turned very grim. Tossing his drawing brush aside, he headed out right away. Just then, Feng Sun and Xian Yi arrived. Spotting Jun Lin Yuan, they grinned and were going to greet the guy when Jun Lin Yuan walked past them as if they weren't there. And he was walking way too fast. So fast that there was a sudden gust of wind. The wind almost threw Feng Sun and Xian Yi off their feet. Feng Sun was rendered speechless. Xian Yi's mouth fell open. They exchanged looks and were dumbfounded. Seeing Feng Sun went up to the old man in a hurry and stopped him. Feng, wait. Feng turned around and looked at the two teenagers. Feng Sun was at a loss. What's going on with Boss Jun? I never thought he could look so concerned, even if His Majesty was being forced to abdicate. Mind your language. He glared at Feng Sun. Sorry. Feng Sun covered his mouth. He looked at Feng. What happened? I've never seen him act that way. Feng Sun nodded. Neither have I. Feng said, something's wrong with Imperial College's physical tryout. That makes sense. Feng Sun interjected. The safety of 1,000 candidates is at stake. So no wonder Boss Jun. Wait, Boss Jun isn't the type to care about any candidate. Little Feng Wu, he reminded him. Feng Sun smacked his own head and cried out, shit, I forgot about that. He grabbed Xin Yi's arm in alarm. My sister is one of the candidates. Feng Sun stopped trying to figure out why Jun Linyuan was acting strangely. All he could think of now was Feng Wu. Feng, is it true? Something's wrong with the physical tryout. Feng Sun blanched. Feng nodded. I heard the news from Grand Secretary Feng. Let's go. Feng Sun and Xin Yi headed for Imperial College right away. Feng had to remind them. Grand Secretary Feng has gone to court. Feng Sun and Xin Yi, who had jumped onto the wall, abruptly changed directions and headed for the Imperial Palace instead. At that moment, Grand Secretary Feng was the most reliable source of information. In the Imperial Palace, the Emperor's study. Emperor Wu frowned. What did you say? Grand Secretary Feng said in a serious tone. Your Majesty, Feng Wu has been abducted by a Qilin beast. Emperor Wu said, what are you suggesting? Grand Secretary Feng didn't answer the question, but only went on stating the facts. That Qilin beast is going to use Feng Wu as a blood sacrifice. Emperor Wu said, if I remember correctly, Qilin beasts are at the spiritual elder stage and reside in Zone 1. Grand Secretary Feng said, yes. Then how did Feng Wu get involved with the Qilin beast? I don't know, but she has, and she's going to be used as a blood sacrifice. That Qilin beast is going to put the soul of its cub into her body. Emperor Wu rose from his seat, crossed his hands behind his back, and walked back and forth in the study. Are you saying that I should open up the terrain for Feng Wu alone? Emperor Wu stared at Grand Secretary Feng in disbelief. Grand Secretary Feng said in a serious voice, Your Majesty, the Frosty Night Beast is very likely about to wake up. If that happens, the lives of nearly 1,000 candidates will be in danger. I beseech you, Your Majesty, cancel the physical tryout. We can hold it again when the time is right. Chapter 811, Not Happening. 811, Not Happening. Emperor Wu waved his hand. I can't do that. Your Majesty. Emperor Wu stared at Grand Secretary Feng. I've always had a high opinion of your selflessness and your service to the Empire. Now that you've retired from court and started working at Imperial College, I hope you can treat all the candidates equally. Your Majesty. Grand Secretary Feng's face darkened. Feng Wu was a level 5 spiritual grandmaster at most, and she had provoked a spiritual elder Qilin beast, a creature that was a colossus to her. What would happen to her now? She would be killed. Just then, footsteps came from outside. Jun Linyuan had been walking very fast, but he slowed down when he was 100 meters away from the study. Thump! The Crown Prince kicked open the door to the study. Emperor Wu and Grand Secretary Feng turned around in surprise. Someone had just kicked open the door to the Emperor's study. They had to have a death wish. A name then came to mind. Jun Linyuan. A towering figure then showed up in the doorway. It was a teenager. He made such a dashing figure. The sunlight poured in from behind him, creating a halo of light around his body. His aura was so dazzling that it was impossible to look away. Emperor Wu frowned involuntarily. What are you doing here? Emperor Wu didn't look very pleased. Jun Linyuan ignored his father and turned to Grand Secretary Feng. Is something wrong with the physical tryout? Yes. Grand Secretary Feng gave a decisive answer without hesitation. Emperor Wu glared at Jun Linyuan. Where did you get that information from? Jun Linyuan darted a look at him. None of your business. Emperor Wu flared up. None of his business. All land under heaven. All land under heaven belongs to the emperor. All within the land are the emperor's servants. Is that what you want to say? Jun Linyuan glanced at his father. Have as many lands or servants as you want. Don't count me in. Blue veins popped on Emperor Wu's forehead. Grand Secretary Fong slowly moved away from the father and son. This was how they interacted on a daily basis. The last thing the old man wanted was to get in the middle. Jun Linyuan stared at Emperor Wu. Reopen that terrain. Forget it. Emperor Wu turned him down without hesitation. What was happening? The brat wanted to break the rules of the exam and call it off as soon as he heard about Feng Wu being in danger. Was he really interested in Feng Wu? At that thought, Emperor Wu frowned. Emperors were the most relentless people, and since Emperor Wu had decided not to marry Feng Wu to Jun Linyuan, he would do all he could to keep them apart. The longest distance was between a living and a dead person. Forget it. Jun Linyuan's face turned livid. Emperor Wu smirked. It's an exam, and all candidates should be treated equally. He went on in a righteous voice. There's danger in the physical tryout every year, and people get killed. All the candidates signed an agreement before they went in. If you interrupt the exam just because Feng Wu is in danger, what are you going to do next time? Are you going to do the same for other candidates? Emperor Wu stared at Jun Linyuan. Why are you so concerned about Feng Wu? Are you in love with her? Feng Sun and Xian arrived in a hurry at that moment, and they heard the shocking question when they tried to catch their breaths outside the study. Boss Jun was in love with little Feng Wu. Jun Linyuan threw a dirty look at Emperor Wu. Are you out of your mind? Of course I'm not in love with her. Chapter 812 Crisis 812 Crisis. He denied it. Taking Xian Yi's arm, Feng Sun heaved a sigh of relief. Oh God, for a moment there, I thought Boss Jun was going to admit that he was in love with little Feng Wu. What a shock. I'm so relieved now. But what if? Xian Yi darted a glance at Feng Sun with a smile. What if Boss Jun really is in love with little Feng Wu? What will you do then? Feng Sun looked befuddled, but he shook his head immediately. What are you talking about? Boss Jun will never be like that. That girl is a cripple. In the study, Emperor Wu glared at Jun Linyuan. What did you say? I dare you to say it again. Jun Linyuan smirked. Why should I? Just because you told me to? Are you kidding me? Emperor Wu didn't know what to say. Jun Linyuan was a man whose words carried weight, and Emperor Wu trusted his son. So, the brat really didn't have any feelings for little Feng Wu. But if that's the case, why are you so concerned about her? Emperor Wu stared at Jun Linyuan. The crown prince rolled his eyes at Emperor Wu. That frosty night beast is waking up. Did you miss that part? That was it. Jun Linyuan was concerned about that frosty night beast, not Feng Wu. At that thought, Emperor Wu's mood lifted. Just then, hasty footsteps came from outside. They turned around to find Priest Wu at the door. The old man was walking very fast, and he looked on edge. In proud snowfield, trapped on the Qilin beast's back, there was nowhere for Feng Wu to run. She had a bad feeling about this. Something unpleasant was about to happen. Instead of killing her on the spot, the Qilin beast had only taken her captive. What did it want? Feng Wu couldn't for the life of her figure it out. She decided to put the question aside for the time being. Sitting down on the Qilin beast's back, she relaxed and began to cultivate. The Qilin beast moved swiftly across the snowfield. It ran as fast as lightning. An hour later, Feng Wu opened her eyes to see a big cave on the shady slope of a tall snow mountain a short distance away. The opening of the cave was wide enough for 50 people to walk in, shoulder to shoulder. So, that was probably the nest of this Qilin beast. Snow covered the ground outside the cave. Feng Wu's first impression when they entered the cave was that it was so cold inside. It was freezing. The bitter cold chilled her to the bone. Thump! Qilin beast threw Feng Wu onto the ground. Ouch! Feng Wu could have landed on her back, but in order to protect herself, She moved so that her bottom hit the ground first. The pain brought tears to her eyes. Feng Wu was then tossed into an area enclosed by a fence. That Qilin beast ignored her after that and went to cultivate on the other side. Feng Wu looked around her. The cave was spacious, and she was imprisoned in the southeast corner. The fence was in fact a circle of obstacles made of spiritual essence. Seeing that the Qilin beast had entered a meditative state, Feng Wu rubbed her, but then slowly rose to her feet. If she could somehow get out of this prison. Feng Wu touched the fence with a finger. Sizzle. There was a flash of light, and sparks flew in all directions. SSSS. Feng Wu drew in her breath. That hurt. She looked down at her finger. She had touched the fence with her right index finger, which was burnt black as smoke rose from it. If she had been a little bit slower drawing back her finger, it would have been charred. Feng Wu took a deep breath, the look on her face full of frustration. Chapter 813, Predicament. 813 Predicament. What should she do now? That Qilin beast had to have brought her here for a reason. Do you have a death wish? Feng Wu was still trying to get out of the fence when a cold voice rang out in the cave. Who was that? Feng Wu looked up to see a second Qilin beast. That was it. She had seen 3 blue dots on the map when she had chosen the Qilin beast cub. 2 big dots and a small one. The small one represented the cub, which made the 2 big ones its parents. Now that the father was cultivating, this Qilin beast which had just shown up had to be the mother Qilin beast. The mother stared at Feng Wu with bloodshot eyes. Feng Wu was a little uneasy. Although it was only natural selection and survival of the fittest, she had indeed used that cub for her own benefit. On second thought, Feng Wu realized that if she hadn't used that cub, the cub would have attacked her all the same, for it wanted her blood. So, she shouldn't be blamed. She only did what she needed to do in order to survive. Did you bring me here to drain my blood? Feng Wu was going to ask that question, but on second thought, she decided not to, for she didn't want to alert the couple to something that might not be part of their plan. While Feng Wu was fidgeting with all kinds of speculations, the mother Qilin beast smirked. I couldn't care less about your petty life, but your body has to stay unscratched. So sit your ass down. Feng Wu was confused. What did it mean by that? Why couldn't her body? Is that what you're after? My body? Feng Wu saw the light all of a sudden. The mother Qilin beast cast Feng Wu an indifferent glance. But why? What do you need it for? Feng Wu shrugged. Just then, Feng Wu sensed a sinister wind, and the temperature in the cave dropped even further. What's it doing? Feng Wu gestured at the father Qilin beast, intrigued. Summoning the soul. What soul? Feng Wu frowned. That ominous feeling was more oppressive now. The mother Qilin beast grew impatient with Feng Wu's questions, and it cut to the chase. There's going to be a blood sacrifice, and our baby is going to be reborn in your body. Feng Wu, what the heck? You can do that. Feng Wu stared at the mother. So, you're summoning the soul of your cub now. The mother Qilin beast nodded. Feng Wu. Shit. If the cub soul really was summoned back, and it told them what really happened, there was no chance of her surviving this. So please, don't let the cub's soul be summoned. Feng Wu grew anxious. The mother Qilin beast stared at Feng Wu, finding her behavior odd. If you had nothing to do with my child's death, why are you so nervous? Feng Wu's stomach lurched. She had everything to do with it. That cub had fallen into her trap, but she would never tell its parents that. Feng Wu reacted quickly. Am I going to die when its soul is summoned? Yes, Feng Wu said, but what if I don't want to die? The mother Qilin beast didn't even look at Feng Wu. To it, a level 5 spiritual grandmaster was so petty that it might as well be talking to an ant. Just then, Chapter 814, On Edge. 814 On Edge. Feng Tutu gingerly said something in the ring. Actually, its voice was so tiny that Feng Wu missed it at first. Actually, I swallowed its soul. What? Astonished, Feng Wu asked Feng Tutu immediately. What do you mean you swallowed its soul? I just just saw this soul when I was sucking its spiritual essence, and I just swallowed it. Feng Tutu was so flustered that it was almost in tears. What should I do? What should I do? I've digested it already. I can't spit it out, even if I wanted to. Feng Wu rejoiced. Luckily, the tiger cub had swallowed the soul of the Qilin cub. Otherwise, she would have no chance to escape if its parents really succeeded in summoning its soul. Taking a deep breath, Feng Wu asked the mother Qilin beast, "What if you can't summon the soul? You'll die with it, then." The mother's voice was cold and emotionless. "But I didn't kill it. Be reasonable." "Be reasonable? A weakling like you doesn't have the right to ask for that. Don't make me laugh. You're no more than an ant, and I can crush you with my heel at any time." The mother beast darted a contemptuous glance at Feng Wu, its eyes flickering. Feng Wu gritted her teeth. She had felt a little guilty for what she did to the cub, but after what its mother said, she no longer felt sorry for the cub. Although she had learnt something. This was a world ruled by the law of the jungle. The weak had no voice, and only the strongest had the right to speak. Meanwhile, blue smoke kept rising from the father Qilin beast's head. Cold sweat covered its forehead. The mother Qilin beast frowned at this. Without thinking, it went over to its husband to help in summoning the soul. However, time went by and nothing happened. That was impossible. The couple exchanged confused looks. All of a sudden, they turned to look at Feng Wu in unison. Feng Wu's stomach lurched. What do they want? All of a sudden, the father Qilin beast gave a wave of its front paw. Feng Wu was lifted out of the fence, and she flew toward the father beast at a tremendous speed. Thump! She fell on the ground with a thump, and the impact made her see stars. What do you want? Feng Wu stared at the two ferocious beasts. The beasts kept their faces straight. The next moment, the mother beast slashed Feng Wu's wrist open with its claws. Blood oozed out immediately. Feng Wu could almost hear a gurgling sound. Sit still. The mother beast pulled Feng Wu over so that she was sitting between the two beasts. The blood sacrifice will start now. Make any unnecessary movements, and you will, in human terms, die a miserable death, your soul shattered into 1,000 pieces. Seeing her bleeding left wrist, Feng Wu was full of despair. She had lost a lot of blood fighting that ice fire beast earlier, and now a blood sacrifice? Her body wouldn't be able to take it. She tried to struggle, but SSSS. She felt as if electricity was running through her body. Her pupils contracted and sweat covered her forehead. It was as if she was being stabbed by 1,000 needles. Chapter 815, Rescue. 815 Rescue. The two Qilin beasts would stop at nothing to save their cub's soul. However, Feng Tutu had devoured that soul, and they would never be able to retrieve it. Wait, Feng Wu's stomach lurched. No, she panicked all of a sudden. For if the two beasts detected an abnormality in her blood, she would be caught red-handed. As more blood left her body, more spiritual essence dissipated into the air as well. Feng Tutu and Little Phoenix tried to leave the ring space, but Feng Wu stopped them by force. They would have no chance of escaping if they came out now. However, the pressure the two Qilin beasts put on her was so overbearing that Feng Wu couldn't take it anymore. She spat out a mouthful of blood. She wouldn't be so shocked if spitting out blood was the only thing that happened. Feng Wu realized in frustration that she was losing control of her soul. It was threatening to break free of her body. Feng Wu began to get a splitting headache and sweat trickled down her forehead. Her face was ghastly pale. All of a sudden, both Qilin beasts looked suspicious, especially the father beast. It stared at Feng Wu with bloodthirsty eyes until they popped out. Because, why do you have my kids sent on you? The father beast stared at Feng Wu in disbelief. Feng Wu's heart skipped a beat. Shit. The mother beast then realized what that meant. It dragged Feng Wu to its side with an incredibly tight grip. It stared at Feng Wu with a deadly gaze. That's right. You smell of my child. Feng Wu wanted to scream. Her worst fear had just come true. The last thing she wanted was to get found out about that. Speak. The two Qilin beasts each took Feng Wu's arms and stared at her. Feng Wu thought her arms were going to be ripped off. Speak. Flames shot out of the mouth of one of the Qilin beasts. They hit Feng Wu and set her on fire. The fire seemed to have a mind of its own, and it reached into Feng Wu's ring space right away. No. Feng Wu blanched. Her beautiful master was there. She could lose everything, but not her beautiful master. She wanted to speak, but was so overwhelmed by the beast's power that she couldn't utter a word. Even her soul shook in pain. Right at that moment, thump, little Phoenix and Feng Tutu fell out of her ring and rolled around on the ground. Both Qilin beasts had acute senses, and they reached for Feng Tutu immediately, for they sensed their cub on it. The father moved a little faster, and it grabbed the tiger cub by the throat. Despite its advancement, the tiger cub was still a baby. It was defenseless in the Qilin beast's paw. My son, sensing its kid on Feng Tutu, the mother beast was furious. It took Feng Tutu by the neck, turned it upside down so that its head was facing the ground, and tried to make Feng Tutu empty its stomach. Give me back my son. Give me back my son. With its thin neck in the mother beast's paw, Feng Tutu was drained of all color, and its pupils turned purple and began to dilate. Feng Wu could sense Feng Tutu's life slowly leaving its body. Run. Chapter 816, The Crown Prince. 816, The Crown Prince. Seeing Feng Wu just standing there, Feng Tutu prompted her through gritted teeth. The cub believed that she should get out of here while it had attracted the attention of the two Qilin beasts. Feng Wu might have a chance, but Feng Wu would never leave the cub behind. Thump! She stabbed the mother Qilin beast from behind with her flaming sword. But, to her frustration, Qilin beasts were too powerful for Feng Wu to handle, and she couldn't breach their defenses. She spared no effort in that strike, but she couldn't even make a cut in the mother beast's skin. The blade didn't even make a dent in its scales, and it bounced off with a metallic clank. Feng Wu's eyes were bloodshot red. The mother beast couldn't care less about Feng Wu at the moment, and it only waved a paw behind it. Thump! Feng Wu, who had snuck up on the mother beast from behind, was flung out right away. Thump! She smashed into a wall, and her back made a loud thump. The thick, hard wall cracked from the impact. Feng Wu slid to the ground and was barely conscious. She spat out large mouthfuls of blood. Little Phoenix almost couldn't bring itself to see the state Feng Wu was in. That stupid woman. Was she seriously thinking about killing a Qilin beast? Didn't she know that they were spiritual elders? The beast was a whole stage more advanced than her. There was no way she could breach its defenses. Let's go. Little Phoenix's body instantly grew in size. It then picked up Feng Wu and rushed toward the cave opening. Feng Wu shook her head. Feng Tutu, we can't leave Feng Tutu behind. Little Phoenix was having a hard time keeping its balance with Feng Wu struggling in its claws. Exasperated, Little Phoenix scolded Feng Wu. You have this saying, as long as the green hills are there, one need not worry about firewood, right? You need to cherish your life so that you can take revenge for the cub in the future. No. Feng Wu shook her head repeatedly. She had never hated her lack of strength so much. If she were a spiritual elder now, she wouldn't have to watch Feng Tutu get throttled while she was helpless to do anything to help. Tears rolled down her cheeks, and Feng Wu clenched her fists so tightly that her fingernails dug into her palms. I'm staying. You go. Feng Wu pulled Little Phoenix downward, and both fell to the ground with a thump. Little Phoenix exploded. You stupid woman. Have you forgotten your mission? Your beautiful master will never be able to wake up if you die here. And what about your mother, your brother, and all the other people? Feng Wu smiled bitterly. I'm not going to die. After that, she forced Little Phoenix back into the ring. Then, she grabbed Feng Tutu. Both Qilin beasts went berserk. They struck at Feng Wu in unison. Two giant paws were aimed at Feng Wu's head. Feng Wu would be killed instantly if she got hit. At that critical moment, Feng Wu took out a jade ornament, aka the panic button. She thought she would never use it, but she was wrong. She had no choice but to give up on the exam. That was the only word Feng Wu was able to utter. All of a sudden, a gust of wind burst into the cave, bringing snow with it. The temperature in the cave plummeted. Feng Wu watched as the two formidable Qilin beasts froze into two ice sculptures. Then their bodies gradually shattered into little pieces that rolled around on the ground. They'd been turned into ice. Feng Wu was astonished. Chapter 817, His Royal Highness. 817, His Royal Highness. She couldn't believe her eyes. Those two Qilin beasts were invincible to her. She couldn't even make a dent in their scales. Then, they were. What was going on? Feng Wu was going to turn around and check the cave opening when a chunk of ice dropped and hit her on the head. Thump! Feng Wu's head swam, and she lost her balance. Her vision dimmed, and she gradually slipped into the dark of unconsciousness. When the wind stopped, a godlike figure landed at the cave opening. The teenager was dressed in white and looked rather dashing. He scanned the cave with his piercing gaze. One could tell at first glance that the person was very confident in his capability. It was none other than Junlin Yuan, the most powerful teenager in the Empire. Crack! The two Qilin beasts had been doing as they pleased only moments ago, but they were defenseless in front of Junlin Yuan. Exactly how capable was he? The teenager rushed to Feng Wu's side before she hit the ground, and he pulled her soft body into his arms. Feng Wu was woken up by a strong light. She opened her eyes and was dazzled by the bright sunlight. "Sister, you're awake." Feng Sun rushed over and took Feng Wu's hand. He was over the moon. Feng Sun, sitting up, Feng Wu rubbed her eyes and stared at the teenager in disbelief. "He shouldn't be here." "What are you doing here?" Feng Wu was bewildered. "And he's not the only one." Another Tianger chimed in with bright eyes. "Xian Yi, you're here, too?" Feng Wu was even more confused. "Isn't the terrain open to candidates only? Why are you people here?" Feng Sun said grumpily, "Something big is happening here. Don't you know?" Feng Wu asked, "What thing?" "Those two Qilin beasts shouldn't have been here in the first place. Not to mention they snatched you. And you came here because of that." Feng Wu stared at Feng Sun. "I'm flattered." "Don't be. You're just lucky," said Feng Sun. "We wouldn't have come in if those two Qilin beasts were the only ones that woke up. That frosty night beast at the center of this terrain has also woken up." Something stirred inside Feng Wu. That frosty night beast had really woken up. She was thrilled. Other people might not have guessed it, but she knew perfectly well that Yuminji was the only person who could have done it. Feng Wu needed to get the heart of frost essence from the frosty night beast to use as the core of her Tai formation. Hence, she had made a deal with Yuminji before they entered the snowfield. She would make sure he passed the physical tryout, while he would help her obtain that heart of frosty essence. Thus, Feng Wu grabbed Feng Sun's sleeve anxiously. "What's going on with that frosty night beast?" Feng Sun snorted. "I heard that someone provoked that beast and woke it up. Of all the candidates this year, Yuminji is the only one capable enough to do that." "Where's Yuminji? How is he now?" Feng Wu asked hastily. Feng Sun snorted. "How is he? He's lucky to still be alive. As for what shape he's in, don't expect too much." "Why?" "Word on the street is that Imperial College has lost contact with him. I wonder if he's still alive." Feng Sun rubbed his chin. Feng Wu blanched. "That can't be. Yuminji is quite capable." Feng Wu bit her lower lip. Chapter 818. Your Royal Highness, please don TB Mad One. 818. Your Royal Highness, please don TB Mad One. Feng Sun said grumpily, "I was just asking Boss Jun how confident he would be if he ran into that frosty night beast." "Do you know what Boss Jun said?" "What?" Feng Wu grabbed Feng Sun's sleeve with wide-open eyes. "Boss Jun said, if he ran into that frosty night beast." Before Feng Sun could finish his sentence, thump! A fruit hit him in the forehead. Feng Sun flared up, rubbing the spot on his forehead. He bellowed, "Who was that? How dare you?" Feng Wu darted him several warning looks in a row. Feng Sun stared at Feng Wu. "Sister, why are your eyelids twitching?" Feng Sun turned around as he spoke. "Holy shit." Feng Sun stared at the teenager behind him in disbelief. Boss Jun. He was almost scared to tears. Jun Linyuan looked past him, and his gaze landed on Feng Wu. He frowned and looked displeased. Staring at Feng Wu, he drew closer. Feng Wu cringed involuntarily. The look in Jun Linyuan's eyes was so frightening. They looked like bottomless pits, and his gaze was as sharp as a blade. Feng Wu and her companions weren't the only ones here. Quite a few candidates were sitting around them as well. Everyone was on edge when they saw how Jun Linyuan stared at Feng Wu. Especially Mu Yaoyao. She clenched her fists and her eyes popped out. This wasn't happening. How could His Royal Highness? Even Gong Sun Qing was jealous. Not to mention the other girls. Jun Linyuan's hand changed direction before he touched Feng Wu's cheek. Thump! He smacked Feng Wu on the forehead. Holding her head with both hands, Feng Wu stared at Jun Linyuan accusingly with her limpid doe eyes. "What was that for? Are you an idiot?" Jun Linyuan glared at Feng Wu. "Have you forgotten what you're like? How could you enter Zone 1 when you have 0 cultivation ability? Do you want to die that badly?" I don't want to die." "Then what were you doing in Zone 1? I was snatched by those Qilin beasts." "Why did they take you, of all people?" "Because I'm pretty." Feng Wu's eyes twinkled, and she grinned at the Crown Prince. Staring at that mischievous smile, Jun Linyuan drew in his breath. The onlookers all watched their interaction in amazement. The girls in particular were all overwhelmed with jealousy. Since when was Feng Wu so familiar with His Royal Highness? Were they making small talk now? Was His Royal Highness? "You idiot." Jun Linyuan smacked Feng Wu on the forehead again. Feng Wu looked at Jun Linyuan with teary eyes. "But that didn't stop you from saving me." Feng Wu felt so aggrieved. She had encountered one disaster after another since she got here. After being teleported to Zone 2 straight away, she had had to fight 3 magical beasts all at once. Despite all the hardships she went through to kill all of them, she didn't get to absorb any spiritual essence. With much difficulty, she had managed to save Chowga, but that ice fire beast showed up and pursued her relentlessly. When she finally provoked a fight between that Qilin beast cub and the ice fire beast, which killed each other, Blade had then hunted her down. She then had to split the team up and use a Qilin beast to kill them, only to be snatched by that Qilin beast afterward. Chapter 819. Your Royal Highness, please don TB Mad 2. 819. Your Royal Highness, please don TB Mad 2. She couldn't believe she had managed to survive all that. When she was finally out of harm's way, she had to endure Jun Linyuan, who was calling her pig and idiot. Jun Linyuan went on yelling at her. "Do you have any idea how much trouble you alone brought the college? Everyone had to put down what they were doing to save you. Look at all those candidates behind you. They almost lost their chance this year because of you." Jun Linyuan glared at Feng Wu. Mu Yaoyao, Gong Sun Qing, and the other girls sighed inwardly, relieved. They were right. Feng Wu liked His Royal Highness, but His Royal Highness had no feelings for her whatsoever. If he were in love with her, he would be treating all those cuts on her face already, not yelling at her. It was so obvious that His Royal Highness was on their side. At that thought, they felt much happier. However, Xian Yi darted a look at Jun Linyuan. He gave the Crown Prince a knowing look. Feng Sun, on the other hand, found Jun Linyuan very strange. This wasn't right. His Royal Highness was such an aloof person, but he had been talking way too much today. That just didn't feel right. However, Feng Sun couldn't hold his tongue anymore when he saw how sorry Feng Wu looked at Jun Linyuan's reprimand. He stepped out and put himself between Feng Wu and Jun Linyuan. "Boss Jun, it was Xiao Wu's fault, all right, but she just narrowly escaped death. Please forgive her." Jun Linyuan wouldn't be so mad if Feng Sun didn't step in. For some unknown reason, the crown prince flared up at Feng Sun's interjection. He glowered at Feng Sun. Out of my way. Shit. Feng Sun's stomach lurched. Having grown up with Jun Linyuan, he knew the latter better than anyone else. The guy was really pissed. Boss Jun. Now that Boss Jun was really mad. Feng Sun wanted to protect Feng Wu even more. Keeping his eyes on Jun Linyuan, Feng Sun warned Feng Wu in a whisper, "Run. Little Feng Wu, run." What? Boss Jun is going to kill you. Feng Wu was baffled. Seriously? Although she had no idea what she had done wrong, she saw that Jun Linyuan was indeed glaring at her, as if she had just killed his father. That was crazy. Feng Wu took one step back, then another. She then spun around and ran. However, she was only able to take a few steps. Boss Jun! Feng Sun cried out, for his boss, Jun, disappeared from sight, moving as quick as a streak of lightning. The next second, Jun Linyuan had grabbed Feng Wu by the back of her collar. That shocked everyone. His Royal Highness picked Feng Wu up as if she were just a chicken then. He took Feng Wu away, just like that. He carried her away, lifting her up by the back of her collar. Feng Wu struggled violently and cried out, "Let go of me! Jun Linyuan, put me down." However, the crown prince only continued walking with a perfectly straight back, as if he could neither see nor hear her. The others were all baffled. Mu Yaoyao said suddenly, "Is His Royal Highness going to kill Feng Wu?" Gong Sun Qing asked, "Then bury her in the woods." Feng Sun shuddered at those words. Judging by how much Boss Jun disliked Feng Wu, he might actually do it. Feng Sun ran out after them. Boss Jun! Boss Jun! However, Jun Linyuan was moving too fast for Feng Sun to catch up. They were nowhere to be seen. Chapter 820, Your Royal Highness, please don TB Mad 3. 820 Your Royal Highness, please don TB Mad 3. Watching from behind while the crown prince took Feng Wu away, Mu Yaoyao felt a tinge of jealousy while she also rejoiced at Feng Wu's predicament. There was a tiny voice in her head, saying that she wished she was the one in the crown prince's grip. Mu Yaoyao snorted. Feng Wu is going to die, isn't she? Gong Sun Qing smirked. I don't think she's coming back. The other girls around them all had expectant looks in their eyes as well. At the same moment, Feng Wu. Put me down. Jun Linyuan, hands off me. Feng Wu felt so humiliated. Kicking her legs, she tried to free herself from Jun Linyuan's grip, but the reality was that all her efforts were futile. I'm not a chicken. Don't manhandle me. Jun Linyuan, put me down now, or I'm going to be very mad. Feng Wu seethed with anger. The next second, Jun Linyuan snorted and tossed Feng Wu onto a nearby haystack. Thump! Ouch! Feng Wu cried out in pain and glared at Jun Linyuan. The crown prince's mouth curled into a crooked smile. Now you can feel pain. Feng Wu retorted in an accusing tone. I'm covered in wounds, and I'm a normal human being. Every part of me hurts, even when I breathe. Then why did you injure yourself? I didn't ask for this. Why can't you just finish the exam peacefully, like everyone else? Why did you have to mess with magical beasts you can't handle? They messed with me. Heh, you don't believe me? Heh. Feng Wu had had enough mishaps since the physical tryout started, not to mention that she had cuts and bruises all over her body. She couldn't take Jun Linyuan's sarcasm anymore. Jun Linyuan, what kind of attitude is that? Jun Linyuan frowned at her. Feng Wu snapped. I don't have a death wish, and I certainly didn't go after those magical beasts myself. I would have loved to stay far away from them, but I just had such bad luck. They kept coming after me, one after another. Jun Linyuan had a brooding look in his eyes. Feng Wu gave a wave of her hand in a magnanimous manner. Well, was it you who saved me earlier? I won't yell at you if that's the case. Jun Linyuan raised his chin. He didn't like being scolded to his face, and he replied with a smirk. Who the hell do you think you are? Don't flatter yourself. What makes you think I would ever save you? Feng Wu stared at Jun Linyuan. It wasn't you. Jun Linyuan ignored her question. Who else did she think it could be? She would have been beyond saving if he had arrived a minute later. Jun Lin Yuan had lingering fear at that realization, and his gaze turned even more piercing. He looked so relentless. Feng Wu bit her lower lip. She had actually believed he was her savior, which was why she had put up with his manner so far. But she was wrong. And what did he say to her? Who the hell do you think you are? Don't flatter yourself. What makes you think I would ever save you? Feng Wu was pissed. A lump seemed lodged in Feng Wu's throat, and she felt suffocated. With a snort, she rose to her feet and turned to leave. Where do you think you're going? Jun Lin Yuan shouted after her. To find a quiet place to treat my wounds. And don't follow me. I don't want to see your face. Throwing Jun Lin Yuan a dirty look, Feng Wu stormed off. She didn't know what was going on with her. She could block out all the cutting remarks from other people, but Jun Lin Yuan's criticism always set her off without fail. Chapter 821. Your Royal Highness, please don TB Mad 3. 821. Your Royal Highness, please don TB Mad 4. How could she let this man manipulate her emotions like this? The realization made Feng Wu clench her fists in rage. Once Feng Wu left without hesitation, Jun Lin Yuan couldn't control his temper anymore. He exploded. That stupid girl. Who the hell did she think she was? She was prouder than a peacock. Jun Lin Yuan was no less proud than Feng Wu. After what Feng Wu said, he decided that he wouldn't follow her anymore. Moreover, he promptly turned to leave. Back at the campsite, dozens of candidates had gathered there. Jun Lin Yuan and his friends were there, as well as Xin Yuan Yi's team, Mu Yao Yao among them. Gong Sun Qing's team was there as well. It was a boisterous scene at the campsite. People were setting up stoves, boiling water, and preparing their meals. Everyone was talking at the same time, and there was a hubbub of noise. Next to Mu Yao Yao. Princess, I think there's more to Feng Wu than we saw. Yao Ying's face was ruined, but she had met up with Mu Yao Yao, along with Huyin, Wen Ling, and the other minions. Mu Yao Yao was roasting some skewered meat over a fire while chewing on the fact that the crown prince had taken Feng Wu away. She cast a stern look at Yao Ying at those words. Yao Ying cringed, but after a brief moment of hesitation, she went on stirring up trouble. Princess, do you remember what it was like when His Royal Highness took Feng Wu away? They looked quite familiar with each other. Mu Yao Yao bellowed. That's because that shameless Feng Wu won't leave His Royal Highness alone. Yao Ying flinched, but she wouldn't give up. But Feng Wu couldn't have forced His Royal Highness to pick her up. Don't you find it strange? By strange, she meant intimate. Yao Ying had thus sown a seed of suspicion in Mu Yao Yao's mind. Seeing that Mu Yao Yao was swayed, Yao Ying snorted inwardly. Feng Wu, that's for ruining my face. I may not be able to get to you myself, but I can take my revenge through other people. Sitting opposite them, Gong Sun Qing heard every word of their conversation. Is Feng Wu on familiar terms with His Royal Highness? Gong Sun Qing looked displeased. That's right, said Huyin. Feng Wu is infatuated with His Royal Highness. She followed him all the way from northern border city to the Imperial capital. Everyone knows that. Gong Sun Qing said. Then what about His Royal Highness? Huyin recalled what Yao Ying had just said, and something clicked in her head. Gong Sun Qing wouldn't hold a grudge against Feng Wu if she was told that His Royal Highness didn't have any feelings for the girl. If that was the case, Huyin wouldn't be able to use Gong Sun Qing to get her revenge. As for how Huyin knew about Gong Sun Qing's feelings for His Royal Highness, it was written all over Gong Sun Qing's face. Moreover, it was an open secret that 9 out of 10 teenage girls in the Imperial capital were fond of His Royal Highness. His Royal Highness was every girl's Prince Charming. His Royal Highness didn't have any feelings for Feng Wu before, or he wouldn't have called off the marriage. But with Feng Wu following him around all this time, I think things have changed. At those words, Gong Sun Qing narrowed her eyes and her face darkened. That sort of Feng Wu. Just then, Jun Lin Yuan came back, looking furious. Surrounded by a dark aura, he gave off an air colder than ice. He was too intimidating for anyone to get close to. Everywhere he went, the temperature plummeted, extinguishing the burning campfires right away. He was that kind of person. The moment he showed up, all eyes were on him. Chapter 822. Your Royal Highness, please don T.B. Mad. 822. Your Royal Highness, please don T.B. Mad 5. Your Royal Highness. His Royal Highness is back. His Royal Highness doesn't look too pleased. Has someone offended His Royal Highness? Who do you think? His Royal Highness left with Feng Wu a moment ago. She's probably the culprit. So is Feng Wu dead? That question lingered in everybody's heads. Mu Yaoyao smirked. I don't know about that, but I do know that His Royal Highness doesn't like Feng Wu at all. She darted a glance at Yao Ying as she spoke. What had Yao Ying said about His Royal Highness just then? Yao Ying rubbed her nose. Damn that Feng Wu. Her plan had been sabotaged just like that. Gong Sunqing let out a breath of relief as well. So His Royal Highness really didn't like Feng Wu. What else did they expect? Of course His Royal Highness would never fall in love with a good-for-nothing who couldn't even cultivate. Just then, Feng Sun rushed out. Looking around, he only saw Jun Lin Yuan, and Feng Wu was nowhere to be seen. He got worried. Boss Jun, where's my sister? Where did you take her? The more Feng Sun thought about it, the more flustered he became. Had his unruly sister finally pissed Boss Jun off so badly that Boss Jun killed her? Crossing his hands behind his back, Jun Lin Yuan snorted. I don't give a damn. Jun Lin Yuan then went back to his tent. I don't give a damn. At those words, all the girls who still had suspicions about the relationship between the Crown Prince and Feng Wu were reassured. Not only wasn't His Royal Highness in love with Feng Wu, he couldn't care less about her. Great. Many were thrilled, especially the girls. After the Crown Prince went back to his tent, they gave toasts and celebrated the news. Feng Sun was exasperated. He wanted to go out and search for Feng Wu. He didn't know what to say. Having realized Boss Jun's true feelings for Feng Wu, he knew that the Crown Prince was only lying to himself, but Feng Sun didn't. He grabbed Feng Sun's arm. Calm down. Feng Sun flared up and glared at Xianyi. My sister is dying out there, and you're telling me to calm down? I see. She's not your sister. After that, Feng Sun threw Xianyi's hand off and shoved the ladder away. Xianyi's mouth fell open. At the same moment, Feng Wu. The endless snowfield stretched out on all sides. Beneath the thick layer of ice under her feet was a rolling river. The ice was thick enough for Feng Wu to walk on without it cracking. She had been walking nonstop after the row with Jun Lin Yuan. The freezing wind howled, which made her head swim. She felt awful. She stumbled all of a sudden, and right next to her was an opening in the ice which covered the river. Oh my, silly girl, are you going to throw yourself into the river? A teasing voice rang out above her head. Feng Wu looked up right away. It was none other than Yuminji. Feng Wu was thrilled to see Yuminji. Taking his hand, she asked with sparkling eyes, Yuminji, is it really you? Are you all right? Yuminji had gone to the center of the snowfield all by himself for her. He had woken up that terrifying frosty night beast. The risk he had taken was unimaginable. Putting a hand on Feng Wu's tiny waist, Yuminji stared at her with his amorous eyes. His smile was mesmerizing. His voice was exceptionally husky. Silly girl, the concerned look on your face will make me think that you actually care about me. Chapter 823, Two Goofballs. 823, Two Goofballs 1. But I do care about you. Feng Wu tugged at Yuminji's sleeve, and they sat down by the river. Feng Wu then asked, Hey, what happened to that frosty night beast? Did you get the heart? Yuminji looked frustrated. She did it again. Every time he said something flirtatious, she was able to ruin the moment with a single sentence. She was staring at him with her limpid eyes, which made his heart skip a beat. This girl was the only girl that had ever made him feel this way. Seeing the dazed look on Yuminji's face, Feng Wu waved a hand in front of his face. Yuminji? Hello, are you in there? No, I'm not. Yuminji went on flirting. Feng Wu smacked his head grumpily. Be serious. Ouch. Yu Minji held his head with both hands. I'm only telling the truth. You're so aggressive. I'm probably the only man that can handle you. You should marry me. Seriously. Seriously, Yu Minji, are you ever going to stop? Are you having fun saying such things? Cut the crap. Yu Minji was so fluent in lover's prattle that Feng Wu didn't believe a word he said. She only thought he was making fun of her. Frustrated, Yu Minji mumbled, "You don't believe me? Am I that untrustworthy?" Feng Wu glanced at him. Do you still remember that girl in Frozen Forest? Right? Yu Minji was rendered speechless at the mention of that girl. Resting her hands on her waist, Feng Wu grinned. I recall that you described the girl as more beautiful than a fairy and that it was love at first sight for you. You said that you would marry her and her alone and that. Yu Minji's face was scarlet red. As a matter of fact, the girl's face was a blur already, but he could never forget those bright eyes, not for the rest of his life. That girl, recalling what that ugly girl did to him in Frozen Forest, Yu Minji gritted his teeth. I swear I'll find her and marry her. Feng Wu chuckled. Wait, Yu Minji suddenly had a strange feeling. Feng Wu's twinkling eyes overlapped with that girl's. Yu Minji reached out all of a sudden. Covering the top of Feng Wu's head with one hand and the lower part of her face with the other, he made sure that only Feng Wu's beautiful bright eyes were exposed. They looked so alike. Yu Minji was astonished. They were almost identical. They could be the same person. How can they look so alike? Yu Minji murmured. Feng Wu was screaming inwardly. Had she known that mentioning the girl he met in Frozen Forest would remind Yu Minji of all sorts of things, she would never have done so. But it was too late to regret it. What are you talking about? Feng Wu knew perfectly well what Yu Minji meant, but she still shoved him away, pretending to be impatient. You two look so alike. Are you her? Yu Minji said all of a sudden. Feng Wu stared at Yu Minji. What was that? Who am I supposed to be? Yu Minji was lost in his memory, and out of the blue, he said, Did I tell you how I ran into that girl in Frozen Forest? Chapter 824, Two Goofballs. 824, Two Goofballs 2. Feng Wu's stomach lurched. Had he, or hadn't he? She didn't care. It had been so long ago, and Feng Wu had forgotten about it. But she would go on denying it no matter what. Of course you did. You told me yourself. Why else would I know about it? Feng Wu said matter-of-factly. She had to count on her acting to fool Yu Minji. Feng Wu realized that after all the traps she had set for other people, she had jumped into one she had dug herself, and she had been doing it over and over again. She wanted to cry now. Yu Minji rubbed his head. I told you that. Feng Wu said matter-of-factly. How else would I know about it? But you two are. The more Yu Minji thought about it, the stranger he found it. She had no spiritual essence, and neither do you. Both of you know Jun Lin Yuan. She showed up in Frozen Forest, which is next in Northern Border City, and you were living in Northern Border City then. She had medical skills, and so do you. Feng Wu's heart sank. She would be forced to tell the truth if she let Yu Minji carry on with his speculation. Was she as pretty as I am? Feng Wu smiled at Yu Minji. That cut Yu Minji off right away. Tell me, was she? No. Problem solved, then. Feng Wu darted a meaningful look at the teenager. Yu Minji, did that girl offend you or something? Or did she steal something from you? Judging from how eager you sounded, I thought she stole your heart. But then, you fell in love with me. That's why you want me and that girl to be the same person. That way, you don't have to feel guilty anymore. Yu Minji scratched his head. He was completely lost. It's cold out here at night. I need to head back now. You coming? Feng Wu wanted to distract Yu Minji from the subject, so that he wouldn't remember any more details that she didn't want him to. Well, Yu Minji seemed to be convinced, and he followed Feng Wu after mumbling to himself. By the way, how are you doing? Recovered yet? Feng Wu grabbed the opportunity to change the subject. I've always been quick to recover. Although, how did you know I was hurt? Feng Wu's eyes widened. Did you save me? Yu Minji said in a mysterious tone. Take a wild guess. So it was really you? Feng Wu heaved a sigh of relief. That's why he wouldn't admit it. You were the one who helped me. He wouldn't admit it? You're referring to Jun Linyuan? Yes. Yu Minji thought about denying it. After all, he didn't do it, and he shouldn't take the credit. However, it had something to do with Jun Linyuan. Yu Minji had always considered Jun Linyuan his archenemy, and he grinned. Yu Minji would never miss a chance to piss Jun Linyuan off. That's right. I was the one who saved you. Yu Minji grinned. Fengwu didn't even want to think about that arrogant look on Jun Linyuan's face. Hey, what happened to that frosty night beast? You haven't told me yet. Yu Minji immediately wrinkled his nose. What? Did something go wrong? Fengwu frowned. Yu Minji sighed. As soon as I was teleported in, I headed for the center of the region. Following the map you gave me, I was able to find the place where the frosty night beast was hibernating. Fengwu nodded and stared at him anxiously, waiting for him to go on. Chapter 825, 2 Goofballs. 825, 2 Goofballs 3. However, when I got to that frosty night beast, I realized that. You realized what? That. However, a figure ran into sight before Yu Minji could finish his sentence. Thump. The person smacked Yu Minji on the head. The strike was so sudden and so hard that Yu Minji's vision went dark for a brief moment. Fengwu jumped up in surprise. She turned around to find Feng Sun behind them. However, before she could do anything, Yu Minji had charged out while yelling angrily. Feng Sun, how dare you hit me? I'm gonna kill you. I hate you, so what? Bring it on. I'm gonna kick your ass. No, I'm gonna kick yours. Fengwu was exasperated. They were upstream on a river that had been formed by a melted glacier. Underneath, a stream of magma had turned the ice into water. Natural hot springs had formed as a result, and the air was always misty. Because of that, the ice layer was rather thin in this area and cracked easily. You two, stop. However, she was too late. The two teenagers, who never failed to break into a fight whenever they ran into each other, had already begun to exchange blows. Feng Sun glowered at Yu Minji. That's my sister back there. How dare you put your paw on her shoulder? I'm gonna kill you. Yu Minji grinned. Your sister? Bullshit. If you can call her sister, I can call her my wife. What's wrong with holding my own wife's shoulder? It's none of your business, brother-in-law. Feng Sun screamed. Shut up. I'm not your brother-in-law. My beautiful sister will never hook up with an idiot like you. Yu Minji said. And my wife is too brilliant to have a goofy brother like you. Who are you talking to, you goofball? The goofball is talking to you. Mwahaha. You just admitted that you're a goofball. You're so dumb. Go to hell. Thump. 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 The fight started again. Fengwu watched with an open mouth. To call these two childish was an understatement. If they had a fight, they should at least put their minds to it. However, the two wouldn't shut up while trying to punch each other in the face. Their babbling was worse than the fight itself. As they fought, an iceberg a short distance away began to fall apart. Fengwu cried out anxiously, Stop. Both of you. Just stop. Yu Minji yelled, He's pretending to be your brother. I know he's trying to become my brother-in-law. If I let him, my reputation will be ruined. Feng Sun was furious. Shut up. My sister is as wonderful as a fairy. She'll never marry a moron like you. I'm going to sew your mouth up. I won't let you ruin my sister's reputation like this. Mwahaha. Little Fengwu is meant to be my wife. I'm going to ask for my father's permission, and little Fengwu is going to marry me. Feng Sun was so mad. She was his only sister, and he had made a promise to keep her safe forever. Yu Minji, die. No, you die first, little Feng Sun. Thump, thump, thump. After some bickering, the two guys went back to fighting. Thump, thump, thump. Snow was kicked up and scattered everywhere. Icebergs collapsed and fell into the river, creating tidal waves. Chapter 826, His Royal Highness is here. 826, His Royal Highness is here. Snow was kicked up and scattered everywhere. Icebergs collapsed and fell into the river, creating tidal waves. The water in the hot spring wasn't lukewarm, but boiling hot. The bubbles gurgled. Because of that, scalding hot magma shot up into the air before showering down again. The ice layer melted under the heat of the magma and grew thinner. If she didn't stop them now, this layer of ice would break apart and all three of them would be in danger. Those two morons. Without hesitation, Feng Wu rushed over and put herself between them. Feng Sun had just struck out with a fist, and the next thing he saw was his sister standing right in front of him. The girl would be turned into mush if she got hit. Whoosh! Feng Sun changed the direction of his blow at the last minute, and his fist struck empty air. He nearly dislocated his shoulder. And it was the same case with Yu Minji. If he hadn't drawn back his fist to the last minute, Feng Wu would have been smashed into a pulp. Stop it! Now! Feng Wu was fuming with anger. One was a young lord, and the other the crown prince of the Yu Empire. But they were fighting like two ruffians. It was unbelievably childish. Feng Sun and Yu Minji were dazed for a moment. Gosh, what are you doing standing there? Staring at Feng Wu, Feng Sun tried to pull her to his side. Get your hands off my wife. Yu Minji was displeased and reached out for Feng Wu's other hand. She's my sister. She's my wife. Bring it on. That's right. Bring it on. They almost broke into another fight right away, and Feng Wu was infuriated. Do you two have a death wish? Shut up. Feng Wu roared. Her voice cracked in the air like a thunderclap, so loud that their ears buzzed. A short distance away, a large block of ice fell off an iceberg at the impact. Feng Sun blinked at Feng Wu, looking very innocent. Yu Minji also stared at Feng Wu with his limpid doe eyes. The two of them acted as if they hadn't done anything wrong. With their exquisite features, it felt impossible to yell at them when they pleaded with their eyes. However, Feng Wu wasn't just anyone. She threw a dirty look at Feng Sun, then glared at Yu Minji. Quit calling me your wife. I've had enough of that. Feng Sun grinned, looking very pleased. Yu Minji didn't like the sound of that. That way, he can't call you sister, either. Feng Wu smirked. Actually, I'm really his sister. Yu Minji was dumbfounded. Feng Sun patted Yu Minji on the shoulder. Young man, you'll have to go through me if you want to court my sister. And even if Yu Minji passed his test, Feng Sun's answer would be, never. Yu Minji ignored Feng Sun and turned to Feng Wu. I'll get an edict from my father to marry you. Little Feng Wu, trust me. Feng Wu didn't like the sound of that at all. However, Yu Minji didn't notice. He took Feng Wu's hand and said in a solemn voice, Little Feng Wu, you have my word. You'll be empress when I become emperor. Feng Wu wanted to throw his hand off, but Yu Minji's grip was too tight. All of a sudden, Feng Wu sensed a pair of eyes staring at the hand that Yu Minji was holding. The gaze was so intense that she felt a tingling sensation on her skin. Chapter 827. 827 His Royal Highness is pissed. Her hand felt as if it was on fire. Sensing the heat, Feng Wu drew back her hand. Boss Jun. Feng Sun turned around to find Jun Lin Yuan standing behind them, and he ran toward the ladder in excitement. Boss Jun, please say something. Little Feng Wu is your cousin. That's as good as a half-sister. Face dark, the crown prince stared at Feng Wu with a murderous look in his eyes. The animosity he gave out was enough to make one shudder. Feng Sun's stomach lurched. Glancing from Jun Lin Yuan to Feng Wu, Xian smiled a little, a knowing look on his face. This was going to be interesting. He rubbed his chin. Would Boss Jun come to his senses at whatever happened next, and finally be forced to admit his true feelings? Jun Lin Yuan scanned the area with a grim look on his face. He looked as if he was ready to kill. What Feng Sun said next didn't make things any better. Boss Jun, did you hear what Yu Minji said? He's crazy. He called little Feng Wu his wife, and he said he was going to marry little Feng Wu and take her back to the Yu Empire. I won't allow it. She's my only sister. Boss Jun, you have to help me. I can't let him take little Feng Wu away. Feng Sun wouldn't be Yu Minji's match if the latter got serious. He had to turn to Jun Lin Yuan for help. The crown prince was obviously displeased. His face darkened like the sky before a storm. His gaze was as sharp as a blade out of its sheath. It glinted. Jun Lin Yuan stared at Feng Wu, as if he was going to cut her into pieces. Yu Minji pulled Feng Wu back and shielded her with his body. No man should hit a woman. Take it out on me. Little Feng Wu, I'll protect you. Feng Wu stood behind Yu Minji, but Jun Lin Yuan's sharp gaze seemed to pierce through Yu Minji's body and stab into her heart. She shuddered. Jun Lin Yuan took a step forward, but kept his gaze on Feng Wu and Yu Minji. Yu Minji's stomach lurched. Stop right there. I'm warning you. Don't come any closer. However, thump. Jun Lin Yuan shoved Yu Minji away with a wave of his hand. Poor Yu Minji. He had easily gained the upper hand with Feng Sun earlier, but with one little push from Jun Lin Yuan, he fell into the scalding magma. Yu Minji, Feng Wu cried out anxiously. Jun Lin Yuan didn't give her any chance to help Yu Minji. Grabbing her hand, he dragged her away. His face had been very grim since the beginning, and his hand around Feng Wu's wrist was as cold as the look in his eyes. Feng Wu was terrified. This was so frightening, but she was still worried about Yu Minji. Yu Minji, how are you doing? You. The next second, Jun Lin Yuan grabbed Feng Wu by her throat and lifted her off the ground. His fingers wrapped around Feng Wu's neck, suffocating her. Feng Wu's face turned from pale to purple in a matter of seconds. She kicked and struggled, but all her efforts were futile. She looked at Jun Lin Yuan and saw the murderous look in his eyes. What a formidable crown prince. He was capable of anything. Exasperated, Feng Sun rushed over and grabbed Jun Lin Yuan's wrist. His voice trembled. Boss Jun, why are you doing this to little Feng Wu? She didn't do anything wrong. Please put her down. Chapter 828. 828, is she going to die? Xianyi watched this in astonishment as well. Boss Jun was really. This wasn't what Xianyi had in mind at all. Given what Boss Jun was doing, no one in their right mind would think that he was fond of Feng Wu. A short distance away, Mu Yao Yao and Gong Sun Qing were hiding behind a pile of snow. They had been keeping an eye on the crown prince, and seeing Jun Lin Yuan leave with Xianyi, the two girls followed them out. They kept their distance for fear of being spotted. Therefore, they didn't see what happened earlier. The only thing they saw was that the crown prince had picked Feng Wu up by her neck and was choking her. Instinctively, Feng Wu struggled violently. However, all her efforts were futile. Mu Yao Yao and Gong Sun Qing exchanged looks, and both saw fright in each other's eyes. Immediately after that, however, both rejoiced at Feng Wu's predicament. Before, no matter how hard they tried to persuade themselves, they still hadn't been convinced deep down. After all, His Royal Highness had carried Feng Wu off, and their interactions looked suspiciously intimate. Hence, they were very alarmed by Feng Wu's presence. But now, His Royal Highness was going to kill Feng Wu. He looked so relentless. So, to His Royal Highness, Feng Wu was no more than an ant that he wouldn't hesitate to stomp on at any moment. The two girls exchanged gloating looks again before slinking off, as if they had never been there. Feng Sun was exasperated. Boss Jun, she's my sister, and that makes her as good as half a sister of yours. Put her down now. You're killing her. He couldn't keep his silence either. Boss Jun, you're doing it wrong. This won't do. Feng Wu's face turned purple in color. Her vision went dark, and she could see shadows in the air. She was overwhelmed by the fear of death. Was she going to die? A despairing look appeared on Feng Wu's face. Thump! Jun Lin Yuan released her neck. Feng Sun rushed over to catch Feng Wu before she fell, and lay her flat on the ground. How do you feel? Little Feng Wu, are you all right? Feng Sun patted Feng Wu's cheek anxiously, which made Feng Wu dizzy. She looked up and glared at Jun Lin Yuan. He hadn't actually lost control, and was only trying to scare her, but what he did had crossed the line. Feng Wu was furious. The look she gave Jun Lin Yuan reminded one of a bloodthirsty young beast. Seeing the ferocious look Feng Wu gave him as she gasped for air, Jun Linyuan promptly turned to leave. After shooting another look at his back, Feng Wu turned the other way to look for Yu Minji. Other people would have been completely dissolved by the magma, but luckily, it was Yu Minji who had fallen in. When he climbed out, all he had were a few patches of red skin. Feng Wu took off her cape at once and threw it over Yu Minji's shoulders. "How do you feel? Any pain? Give me your hand." After checking his pulse, Feng Wu let out a breath of relief. "Good. There isn't much excessive fire energy in you. You'll be fine once that's out of your system. There won't be any complications." Jun Linyuan turned around after a few steps and saw that Feng Wu was looking after Yu Minji. He exploded again, and the cold air he gave off was terrifying. The temperature dropped again. Crack! The thick layer of ice under their feet cracked, and the fissure expanded rapidly like a spider web. Feng Wu was shocked. Without thinking, she grabbed Yu Minji's arm and pulled him to his feet. "Run!" Chapter 829. 829. Why is His Royal Highness offended again? Whoosh! Jun Linyuan watched as Feng Wu and Yu Minji dashed off, while he himself was left behind. The Crown Prince was furious. Once they were off the ice, Feng Wu didn't want to go back to the campsite, so she led Yu Minji in another direction. Thump! All of a sudden, an ice wall erupted out of the ground. Feng Wu almost bumped into it. Luckily, Yu Minji stopped her in time. Feng Wu turned around and threw a dirty look at Jun Linyuan. She then led Yu Minji in another direction. Thump! She ran into another ice wall. They changed direction again. She ran into another ice wall. Another direction. Feng Wu was speechless. Taking a deep breath, she led Yu Minji back to Jun Linyuan and glared at the Crown Prince. "Jun, Lin, Yuan, what on earth do you want? Haven't you had enough fun?" Jun Linyuan stared at Feng Wu and Yu Minji's linked hand with his brooding eyes for a moment before he spoke in a cold voice. "Not yet. I still want to cut off an arm." There was something crazy yet serious in Jun Linyuan's eyes. He meant it. Feng Wu released Yu Minji's hand involuntarily. Jun Linyuan's gaze was so intense that it seemed to burn Feng Wu's skin. He then said, "You don't want to know what will happen if you don't go back to the campsite." His voice was so cold that it gave her the creeps. Looking at Jun Linyuan's back as he left, Feng Wu was overwhelmed with emotion. She was furious and aggrieved. Feng Sun tugged at Feng Wu's sleeve. There. Let's go back to the campsite now. Don't even think about defying Boss Jun. You'll really get killed for it." After that, Feng Sun tried to push Feng Wu back toward the campsite. "Then he has to come with us." Feng Wu gestured at Yu Minji. "He hasn't recovered from his old injuries, and, thanks to Jun Linyuan, there's all this excessive fire energy in him. The two things will interact in a bad way in his body, and it can get a lot more complicated if I don't treat him properly now." Xian, he wanted to turn her down, for he knew that Yu Minji was the ultimate reason for Jun Linyuan's rage. But Feng Sun didn't realize that. The goofball worshipped the ground his sister walked on, and he would do anything Feng Wu said without question. "Sure, no problem. Whatever you want, as long as you come back with me." Xian Yi's mouth fell open. Yu Minji was like a ticking time bomb that could set Boss Jun off at any moment. However, rubbing his chin, Xian Yi pondered for a moment. Maybe the guy's presence would force Boss Jun to face his true feelings. In the campsite, after the Crown Prince got back, thump! There was a loud thump. He slammed his door shut with all his strength. The impact almost broke all the windows in the campsite. Many were still grilling meat in the open area in the center of the campsite, and everyone jumped at the sound. A hush fell over the crowd immediately as they exchanged frightened looks. That was so frightening. They thought they were going to have heart attacks. "I know what happened," Mu Yaoyao gloated. "Princess Mu, please tell us." Instantly, everyone gathered around Mu Yaoyao and begged for an explanation. Mu Yaoyao snorted. "Isn't it obvious? That troublesome Feng Wu offended His Royal Highness again." What did Feng Wu do this time? His Royal Highness was so mad that he wanted to throttle Feng Wu. Ching and I saw it with our own eyes. Ask her if you don't believe me. Gong Sun Qing was much more reserved in nature, and she had been with her own team ever since they got back. She confirmed Mu Yaoyao's story with a nod. It's true. We saw it. Then, Chapter 830. 830 The Crown Prince and his sarcasm. Wow. Everyone looked baffled. What did Feng Wu do? His Royal Highness was so mad. Did she offend His Royal Highness? She didn't. No one is allowed to defy His Royal Highness. Was that why His Royal Highness wanted to strangle Feng Wu? Is Feng Wu that flirty? She's just a pretty face with an empty head. I bet her biggest hope is to find a rich guy and be set for life. I'm telling you, Feng Wu must have forced herself upon His Royal Highness when they were alone, and I didn't know that Feng Wu had that side to her at all. The onlookers had made up a whole scenario in their heads from Mu Yaoyao and Gong Sun Qing's descriptions alone. Hence, when Feng Sun and the others got back, such rumors were all over the campsite. Feng Sun almost exploded. That's all bullshit. Little Feng Wu has never done such a thing. Boss Jun should do something about it. Xian, he rubbed his nose. I'll go check up on him. The room was pitch dark when Xian, he pushed the door open. Moonlight shone in through the door, casting a shadow on Jun Linyuan's face. Sitting against the wall with his head lowered, Jun Linyuan looked irascible but disappointed, reminding Xian Yi of a formidable beast languishing in a cage. He had never seen Jun Linyuan this way. Xian Yi sat down next to Jun Linyuan. Xian Yi realized that he could hear everything going on outside. That was to say, Boss Jun had heard all the groundless rumors they had made up about Feng Wu and him. He gave Boss Jun a strange look. Where there are people, there are rumors. Xian, he started off his speech with those words. Jun Linyuan ignored him and was still lost in his thoughts. I saw little Feng Wu stumbling around on my way here. She was injured from narrowly escaping those Qilin beasts. She hasn't recovered yet. Then this happened. She's limping. I feel quite sorry for her. Xian, he mumbled to himself as he stole glances at Jun Linyuan. The Crown Prince was a smart guy, and Xian he knew that Jun Linyuan could take a hint. However, even the smartest guy had his blind spot. His boss Jun was a remarkable guy in every other subject, but when it came to relationships, he was hopeless. Jun Linyuan actually smirked. She's stumbling around, and she's still trying to run away with another man? Xian Yi's mouth fell open. Rubbing his nose, he tried to defend Feng Wu. It's like what Feng Sun said. Yu Minji won't leave little Feng Wu alone. Jun Linyuan snorted. He won't. I think she enjoyed it. Gosh, just listen to that tone. And he still wouldn't admit that he was in love with little Feng Wu. Xian, he had seen through His Royal Highness. However, he had to pretend he knew nothing, so that Jun Linyuan wouldn't be embarrassed. How tiring. Your Royal Highness did push Yu Minji into the magma. Jun Linyuan said in a contemptuous voice, I do what I want. Since when do I care how other people feel? Chapter 831. 831. It's not like you. Were you going to marry little Feng Wu? Yes, of course. Xian Yi nodded in a hurry. Of course your Royal Highness doesn't have to ask for anybody's permission, but little Feng Wu was worried about Yu Minji after you push him in. Your Royal Highness, you're practically pushing Feng Wu into Yu Minji's arms. Staring at Xian Yi, Jun Linyuan said arrogantly, what's that supposed to mean? What? Why should I care what little Feng Wu thinks about Yu Minji? Xian Yi was speechless. Would your Royal Highness look like this, like you've lost your wits, if you really didn't care? You obviously care a lot. Do you think that I, the Crown Prince of the Empire, will be distracted by a mere Feng Wu? Xian, he shook his head repeatedly. No, of course not. I can kill that stupid girl whenever I want to. Xian, he said, yes, of course. With a snort, Jun Linyuan raised his chin. So, what makes you think I give a damn if Feng Wu likes that Yu Minji or not? No, of course you don't. Like hell you don't. Xian, he sighed inwardly. Right now, he knew perfectly well how Feng felt on a daily basis. The old man had to sound obedient while making sure that the crown prince didn't get embarrassed. That was such a tough job. But he was quick-witted, and he came up with an excuse right away. But Yuminji has always considered you his arch-rival. Do we really want him to show off in front of little Feng Wu? He was so proud of his quick reaction. Jun Linyuan darted a glance at He pondered, then frowned. He understood right away. Jun Linyuan was hesitating. He went on persuading him. The Yu family has established their own empire, which is located in the area where 3 kingdoms share a common border. It has precipitous terrain and is easy to defend, but hard to attack. Little Feng Wu has no cultivation skills, but she's an excellent doctor, an exceptional formation master, and a little genius. If she ends up marrying Yuminji, she'll become a potential threat to our Junwu Empire. He almost convinced himself with the story he made up. Suppressing the excitement in his voice, he went on. So, Your Royal Highness, for the long-term stability and prosperity of our empire, we mustn't allow Feng Wu to marry Yuminji. Crossing his hands behind his back, Jun Linyuan raised his chin and darted a glance at You think so, too? Yes, Your Royal Highness. Not only should we prevent Feng Wu from marrying Yuminji, we should also stop them from becoming too close. She might leak confidential information to him unknowingly. Feng would praise for his acting if he were here. Jun Linyuan nodded and said in a solemn voice, You do have a point. Yes. Xianni nodded. Yuminji is such a scheming guy, and he's so good at currying favor girls. What if she falls in love with him? Jun Linyuan snorted. She's not blind. Xiao Wu glanced at Jun Linyuan. Of course Yuminji is no match for your Royal Highness. But not only is Yuminji persistent, he's also promised Feng Wu a proper marriage. Your Royal Highness, it's not like you're ever going to marry little Feng Wu. He stole a glance at Jun Linyuan as he spoke. Jun Linyuan looked embarrassed, and he coughed into his fist. All girls expect to get married someday, said Xianni patiently, hoping that Boss Jun could read between the lines. However, Chapter 832. 832, Take your clothes off. Jun Linyuan snorted. Marry her? Are you kidding me? Xianyi's mouth fell open. Oh God, would His Royal Highness ever admit his true feelings? Sensing Xianyi's silence, Jun Linyuan threw a dirty look at Xianyi. He was bewildered. What did he do now? Jun Linyuan frowned. Why'd the guy stop? Go on talking about little Feng Wu. He was all ears. He didn't know what was wrong with him. He would prick up his ears whenever Feng Wu's name came up, and he was almost addicted to it. That wasn't right. What did you say about little Feng Wu? Jun Linyuan frowned. I didn't. He was at a loss. However, he saw the light when he recognized the conflicted look on His Royal Highness's face. Little Feng Wu, well, he heaved a sigh. Speak. Jun Linyuan glowered. He didn't dare to keep the crown prince guessing for too long. He continued immediately. I saw the bruises on little Feng Wu's neck just then. They were all swollen and looked really painful. Those wounds were from none other than Jun Linyuan himself. The crown prince's face darkened, and he looked utterly embarrassed. Feng wasn't around, so he had to play the old man's part. Boss Jun, little Feng Wu always puts the welfare of others before her own. Do you think she'll forget to treat her own wounds? And wasn't she suffering from excessive ice energy because of those 2 Qilin beasts? You were only able to remove half of it, and we'll have to do it again in 12 hours, right? Poor little Feng Wu. She probably has no idea what will happen if that excessive ice energy begins to spread throughout her body. By the way, Boss Jun, Feng Wu has excessive ice energy in her, while Yuminji has excessive fire energy. Do you think the 2 of them will? Thump. The closed door was kicked open, and Jun Linyuan disappeared from sight. Like hell he didn't care. He grinned. He did hope that Boss Jun would stop behaving like a willful child and tell Feng Wu his true feelings. Everything would be all right that way. At the same moment, Feng Sun was so concerned about his little sister that he gave her the best hint. Seeing the cuts on Feng Wu's face and the fact that she was busy treating Yuminji's wounds, Feng Sun was displeased. He pulled Feng Wu over and sat her down. You have to get some rest. Can't you see your face? Feng Wu's face had been badly scratched by the Qilin beast before Jun Linyuan did his share. The fair skin on her neck was littered with purplish-blue marks, which looked quite frightening. Feng Wu said to Yuminji, "Take off your clothes." She then turned to Feng Sun. "You out." Feng Sun's eyes widened. "No way." She was asking Yuminji to take off his clothes and chasing Feng Sun out. What was this little Feng Wu up to? Feng Wu snapped. "I need to neutralize the toxin in his body. You're distracting me with all your talking." "I'll keep silent." Feng Sun covered his mouth and pleaded with his eyes. "I don't trust you." Feng Wu then pushed Feng Sun out of the room. Seeing that Feng Sun wanted to raise his voice, Feng Wu said in a solemn voice, "Anything happens to him and we'll be in a lot of trouble. Do you want us to go to war with the Yu Empire?" Feng Sun was rendered speechless. What else could he say now? "I'm right outside. Give me a shout if you need anything." Feng Sun, the good brother, sat down outside with his legs crossed. Chapter 833. 833, They Redoing It. Feng Wu shook her head in resignation. When she turned back, Yuminji had taken his top off. He was moving on to his trousers. "Stop!" Feng Wu cried out. "Didn't you tell me to take my clothes off? Just your top. Keep your pants on." Their conversation could be heard loud and clear outside. Because of Jun Linyuan, Feng Wu had become the center of attention. Of everyone, Mu Yaoyao and Gong Sun Qing were the most attentive observers. The fact that Feng Wu and Yuminji stayed behind alone in the room was already enough to make their imaginations run wild. Now that they heard the conversation, they exchanged looks in astonishment. Seriously? Was that what Feng Wu was truly like? She hooked up with Yuminji as soon as His Royal Highness turned her down. Mu Yaoyao gritted her teeth in frustration. Yuminji was a great candidate as a future husband, too. He used to be the sacred son of the Dark Court and was now the crown prince of the Yu Empire. Not only did His Majesty treat him nicely, the guy was also as famous as His Royal Highness. Can Feng Wu actually do that? Gong Sun Qing was equally amazed. Mu Yaoyao said, "Just look at that face of hers. You can flirt with whoever you want if you look like that." If Jun Linyuan was the #1 Prince Charming for all the girls in the Empire, Yuminji was ranked right behind him. Even young Lord Feng Sun wasn't his match. I can't believe it. How did Feng Wu do it? How did she switch from His Royal Highness to Yuminji just like that? While Mu Yaoyao and Gong Sun Qing were grinding their teeth, overwhelmed with jealousy, footsteps came from behind them. Mu Yaoyao and Gong Sun Qing turned around to spot a familiar face. His Royal Highness. And behind His Royal Highness was young Lord Xianyi. Mu Yaoyao's and Gong Sun Qing's eyes lit up. It was too late for them to hide, and they had to bow to the crown prince. With his sharp ears, of course Jun Linyuan had heard everything Mu Yaoyao and Gong Sun Qing said. His face darkened immediately. Xianyi feared that His Royal Highness would once again be driven to extremes by his rage. After all, it had been proven that Jun Linyuan was a mostly level-headed and unperturbed guy, as long as Feng Wu wasn't involved. Otherwise, the guy's mood would switch from one extreme to the other like ice clashing with fire. Xianyi said in a hurry, "Boss Jun, little Feng Wu isn't blind. She would never choose Yuminji over Jun Linyuan." That appeased Jun Linyuan a little, but he still quickened his footsteps. When they arrived at Feng Wu's tent, Jun Linyuan immediately spotted Feng Sun, who was sitting outside with his legs crossed. He then saw the silhouettes of the people inside on the wall of the tent. Feng Wu was moving closer to Yuminji, one hand on his shoulder and another reaching for his chest. Jun Linyuan's face turned livid. The look on his stunning face was terrifying, and he gave off an air that reminded one of a wild animal. "Boss Jun!" "Thump!" Feng Sun cried out as Jun Linyuan kicked the door open. More precisely, the crown prince didn't kick the door open, but kicked the entire tent into the air. Thump! All the lines that were keeping the tent in place were ripped out of the ground. Feng Wu and Yu Minji stood there in astonishment as the tent around them disappeared. Ah! Chapter 834. 834 His Royal Highness is jealous. Mu Yaoyao covered her face with both hands and cried out in an affected voice. Jun Linyuan showed up in front of Feng Wu like a god descending from above. He looked like an erupting volcano that was ready to burn everyone to ashes. The terrifying aura scared the wits out of everyone. Feng Wu looked up to see Jun Linyuan, who had malice written all over his face. His eyes were spitting fire. The look in his eyes was terrifying. Feng Wu released Yu Minji involuntarily. Jun Linyuan stared at Feng Wu as if he was going to tear her to pieces with his eyes. The temperature dropped so quickly that frost began to cover the ground. Jun Linyuan raised a hand. Feng Sun rushed over and grabbed Jun Linyuan's hand. Boss Jun, if you have to hit someone, hit me, not my sister. She's as good as your half-sister. Fearing that Jun Linyuan would do something reckless, he hurried over and held his other arm. Boss Jun, calm down. Don't do something you'll regret later. Feng Sun stared at Feng Wu. Don't just stand there, you silly girl. Apologize to Boss Jun. Feng Wu was completely at a loss. What did she do? Why should she apologize to Jun Linyuan? Why? Why should I do that? Feng Wu asked. Jun Linyuan's face grew even darker. A short distance away, the glacier began to crack. Feng Sun was equally exasperated. He had no idea what set Boss Jun off. He was as confused as Feng Wu. But one thing was for sure. Boss Jun was furious. Feng Sun did some thinking. Boss Jun couldn't be mad because Feng Wu was close to another guy. He didn't even like little Feng Wu. So, the only explanation was, I told you not to treat Yu Minji. You just wouldn't listen to me. Have you forgotten that he's not one of us? Stone-faced, Feng Sun pulled Feng Wu over and smiled obsequiously at Jun Linyuan. Boss Jun, little Feng Wu is a doctor and she's only doing it out of habit. She can't leave any patient untreated. That's why she's been looking after Yu Minji. Boss Jun, I'm sure you won't mind that. Jun Linyuan cast a stern look at Feng Wu. It was malicious and seemed to leave a burning sensation on Feng Wu's skin. Feng Wu felt as if a large hand had gripped her heart and squeezed it. Even Feng Wu herself couldn't help but fidget, to say nothing of the others. Jun Linyuan stared at Feng Wu for a moment, threw a dirty look at Yu Minji, then turned to leave. By now, a lot of people had gathered around them. Everybody loved good gossip, especially where Feng Wu and Jun Linyuan were concerned. Hence, everyone dropped what they were doing and gathered around in a hurry. Jun Linyuan turned around and scanned the crowd with a grim look in his eyes. Whoosh! The crowd moved at once, making a passageway wide enough for 4 people to walk shoulder to shoulder. The Crown Prince marched off, radiating a cold air as he walked. Everyone followed Jun Linyuan with their eyes, then turned to look at Feng Wu and the half-naked Yu Minji and the tent that had been kicked away. Mu Yaoyao had been jealous about Feng Wu's relationship with Yu Minji. However, on second thought, she realized that she would have one less opponent if Feng Wu was with Yu Minji. Given Feng Wu's good looks and her initiative in pursuing men, Mu Yaoyao had always considered Feng Wu a formidable love rival. Chapter 835. 835 His Royal Highness is gone. Feng Wu's elimination would be great news to Mu Yaoyao. At that thought, Mu Yaoyao decided to twist the knife. She cried out with an affected air, "Oh God! Feng Wu, what are you doing? And why is the sacred sun half naked? Don't you feel cold?" The crowd had been following the crown prince with their eyes, but upon hearing Mu Yaoyao's words, whoosh! Instantly, almost all eyes were on Feng Wu and Yu Minji. And all eyes widened in astonishment. They saw the tent that had been kicked away as well. All evidence pointed to one possibility. Feng Wu frowned. Of course Mu Yaoyao would make good use of this opportunity to defame Feng Wu. Oh my, Feng Wu, you and the sacred sun. People have been guessing before, but they only began to speak their minds after Mu Yaoyao's words. Mu Yaoyao wasn't the only one who thought that way. Feng Sun was no fool. He knew what Mu Yaoyao was getting at. He flared up right away and bellowed, Mu Yaoyao, stop trying to ruin my sister's reputation. Are you fucking blind? Yu Minji still has needles in him. Xiao Wu is treating Yu Minji. Stop making filthy suggestions. Boss Jun is mad because he doesn't want Xiao Wu to treat Yu Minji. That's all. If what you're suggesting is true, you're saying that Boss Jun likes Feng Wu. You believe that. As Jun Lingyuan's childhood friend, Feng Sun had been unknowingly sabotaging the guy's missions since they were little. Jun Linyuan almost tripped when he heard Feng Sun's affirmative tone in the distance. He couldn't help but look over his shoulder at Feng Sun. He realized that he had to make his friend see the light soon before Boss Jun strangled that goofball. Back to Feng Wu. Feng Sun's resolute voice lingered in the air, especially the last part. If what you're suggesting is true, you're saying that Boss Jun likes Feng Wu. You believe that. That successfully silenced everyone. That was so true. If Boss Jun was here to catch them in the act of adultery, that meant that he was in love with Feng Wu. But was he? Obviously not. Ergo, Boss Jun wasn't mad over the fact that there was something between Feng Wu and Yu Minji. But that still doesn't prove that Feng Wu isn't romantically involved with Yu Minji. Feng Sun roared, Are you blind? Yu Minji has needles all over his face. Someone said quietly in the crowd, I heard from somewhere that stimulating certain acupoints will heat things up when you're doing it. Feng Sun, what was that? Step out, and I'll beat some sense into your head. Young Lord Feng could be pretty scary when he was infuriated. The crowd began to scatter. However, Feng Sun could chase them off, but not the idea in their heads. I think something must be going on between Feng Wu and Yu Minji. Mu Yaoyao clenched her fists. Mu Yaoyao believed that with the beautiful Feng Wu out of the picture, she would achieve her goal with much less difficulty. So, she had to make sure that the gossip of Feng Wu and Yu Minji became real. You know what? I've heard that Feng Wu has a habit of... Chapter 836. 836, the Jealous Crown Prince. Really? I didn't know she's that kind of person. You don't say. She's been following His Royal Highness around since Northern Border City and simply wouldn't leave him alone. So, now that His Royal Highness is no longer an option, she's moved on to Yu Minji. Instead of going back to his tent, Jun Linyuan walked away from the campsite. Fearing that the Crown Prince would destroy the entire proud snowfield in his current state, He forced himself to follow him, for the sake of all the candidates and the snowfield. Jun Linyuan stopped in front of a glacier and crossed his hands behind his back. He stood next to him. Even from here, he could hear the voices of those women in the campsite. Have you heard? Feng Wu and Yu Minji. Really? Yes, that Feng Wu. The voices kept coming. He looked up at his friend. Jun Linyuan had much sharper ears and would only hear more than He did. He noticed Jun Linyuan's face getting darker. The guy could lose his temper at any moment. He said in a hurry, Actually, I saw what happened just then. Little Feng Wu was treating Yu Minji with acupuncture therapy. Jun Linyuan didn't even blink. Little Feng Wu should take care of herself first. She still hasn't treated her own wounds. He stole another glance at Jun Linyuan and saw that the latter's face was still livid. He added, She's a great doctor with a big heart. What kind girl? Jun Linyuan snorted. What kind of therapy needs her patients to strip first? He rubbed his nose. Well, it's easier to see the acupoints without clothes. Your Royal Highness, everyone has to take off their clothes for acupuncture therapy. Jun Linyuan smirked. Didn't you call her a great doctor? Yi's mouth fell open. The more Jun Linyuan thought about it, the angrier he became. Yi watched in astonishment as the glacier began to crack. Yi really wanted to ask his boss Jun exactly what was he angry about. However, He didn't have a death wish and could only draw his neck back without saying another word. June Linyuan snorted. A man and a woman behind a closed door, all by themselves. Do I need to say more? Xian, he rubbed his head. He realized that it had been a bad idea to lead Boss June to little Feng Wu just then. He didn't know what to say now. While he kept his silence and his eyes darted around, he saw that the water level of the river had started to rise. That was strange. Did the river have tides here? Boss June. Just then, Feng Sun ran toward them. Get him out of my sight, June Linyuan said with a grim face. Recalling what Feng Sun had said, Xian knew that it was time for him to lecture his friend. Hence, he nodded and ran toward Feng Sun. Come with me. Xian, he stopped Feng Sun. Feng Sun was displeased. Why? I'm here to speak to Boss June. If I let you do that, you'll end up enraging Boss June and getting yourself killed, Xian thought to himself. There was no time to waste. Xian dragged Feng Sun in the other direction. Feng Sun actually wasn't Xian Yi's match and had to follow the ladder. What? Feng Sun threw Xian Yi's hand off when they were on top of another glacier. I need to speak to Boss June. Chapter 837, The Crown Prince. 837's The Crown Prince 1. Xian Yi's face darkened. What do you want to say to Boss June? Isn't Boss June mad about little Feng Wu hanging out with you Minji all the time? Feng Sun stared at him. You know that? Feng Sun said proudly. Of course I know that. Boss June doesn't like little Feng Wu, but he still doesn't want her to be too close to you Minji. It's like making friends with our enemy. Xian, he tried to lead him in the right direction. Don't you think that Boss June might actually like little Feng Wu a lot? Ha ha ha. Feng Sun laughed until he was in tears. Xian, have you lost your mind? Boss June will never think of my sister that way. I think my sister is the best girl on earth, but Boss June isn't me. He doesn't like Xiao Wu at all. Are you sure? I could bet my own head on it, Feng Sun said in an affirmative voice as he patted his own head. Xian Yi's mouth fell open. Back at the campsite, many had already gone to bed. All nature was silent when... Wait, what was that noise? Mu Yao Yao was only half awake when she felt the cold. It was as if she was submerged in freezing cold water. She opened her eyes. She was scared out of her wits by what she saw. Where had all this water come from? Her tent was flooded and the cold water was already up to her calves. Mu Yao Yao was the first to scream. Where did all this water come from? What's happening? Her shriek ripped through the silence of the night, waking everyone up at once. The makeshift beds were all made from dry twigs. At the sound, everyone bolted upright. What was going on? They looked down and saw the water. Isn't the campsite on a high slope? How did the water get here? I thought the river is dozens of meters below us. Why is all this water here? The river can't flow backward, can it? No, Gong Sunqing said calmly. The river isn't flowing backward, but the ice layer under our feet is melting. But I thought we chose a spot without magma when we made camp. Why is the ice melting now? No one had a clue. This was beyond their imagination. Plus, is it me or is the water really, really cold? Like freezing cold? It's colder than that. Even my heart is shuddering. Just as they ran out of the campsite and climbed to higher ground. Rumble. There was a loud noise. Everyone turned in that direction involuntarily. There, an entire glacier, which stretched on for miles, was collapsing as they watched. It was as if doomsday had arrived. Oh God, Mu Yao Yao cried out. Everyone else was equally dazed by what was happening. They all prided themselves on being experienced teenagers, but none of them had seen something as awe-inspiring as this before. To say that they were shaken to the core would be an understatement. Oh God, shit. The glacier has collapsed. We're witnessing a glacier falling apart. Quit yelling already. It's coming our way. Run, or we'll all die here. Where's His Royal Highness? Where's he? Won't he lead us out of here? Chapter 838, The Crown Prince. 838, The Crown Prince 2. I don't know. I haven't seen His Royal Highness since last night. What about young Lord Feng and young Lord Xian? They can help us if His Royal Highness isn't here. No, neither of them is around. Oh God, stop packing and leave everything behind. Money is of no use to dead people. Just run. Everyone was running as fast as they could. They rushed toward the highest mountain peak nearby. Feng Wu's eyes widened. This had to be the worst day of her life. She hadn't been able to find any peace since the physical tryout started. Now that things had finally settled down a bit, she wanted to use this time to work on her cultivation. She had been ready to make a breakthrough to level 6 when the glacier collapsed. With everyone gone, the campsite was exceptionally quiet. Feng Wu was much more observant than the others. She frowned, after confirming that the water didn't come from a rising river. Yuminji was cultivating on a stone nearby. His recovery process would be affected if he was disturbed at that moment. Feng Wu estimated the time until the glacier fell upon them. She still had 1 minute, and she could do a lot of things in that time. Scooping up some water, Feng Wu studied it carefully. Wait. Feng Wu looked surprised. The water indeed came from the melted ice under her feet, and it was true that it was due to the fire energy. But why did she detect the familiar energy of an abnormal flame in it? Feng Wu frowned. Abnormal flame? She released Little Phoenix from her ring. Little Phoenix's eyes lit up as soon as it sensed that energy. You recognize it? Feng Wu asked. Little Phoenix rolled its eyes at Feng Wu. Can't you tell? It's the abnormal flame of your dear crown prince. Feng Wu frowned. It's familiar, but I'm not so sure. Little Phoenix didn't want to tell her who the energy belonged to, for it didn't want Feng Wu to hang out with that rogue. At that thought, Little Phoenix raised its head and crossed its wings. Oomph. Don't ask me. Feng Wu was speechless. It was so obvious that the bird knew the answer, but it just wouldn't tell her. What was the bird getting at? There were only 20 seconds left, and Feng Wu had to leave now. Yuminji? Yuminji. No matter how reluctant Feng Wu was, she had to wake him up. The entire campsite would be wiped out if there was a landslide. When that happened, she and Yuminji would have no chance of getting out. But Feng Wu shouted and shouted, but Yuminji just wouldn't wake up. Feng Wu felt his forehead. Shit, he has a fever. Feng Wu was surprised. Yuminji was supposed to be very strong. How could he fall ill? However, the guy had been wounded before falling into the magma. And during the acupuncture therapy, which was when he was at his weakest, the tent had been kicked away, causing him to catch a cold. It was only normal that he would have a fever now. Recalling what happened, Feng Wu cursed Jun Linyuan under her breath. There was no time to waste. She took out a belt to tie Yuminji on her back, then folded the tent and threw it on Little Phoenix's back. Little Phoenix was a palm-sized bird, and the tent looked humongous next to it. Chapter 839, The Crown Prince. 839, The Crown Prince 3. Little Phoenix wanted to say something sarcastic, but seeing how concerned Feng Wu was over Yuminji, it kept its silence. This Yuminji was at least better than Jun Linyuan. The guy had given Little Phoenix sweets twice. Just then, up on a mountain peak, both Feng Sun and Xian Yi looked in Jun Linyuan's direction. That giant glacier was the one Jun Linyuan was standing on. Boss Jun, Xian Yi realized what was happening right away. Of Jun Linyuan, the glacier, and the campsite, Jun Linyuan was on the highest ground, while the campsite was on the lowest. From where Jun Linyuan was, he had cracked the glacier with a push, and ice rained down on the campsite. However, the guy had to be unbelievably capable to break a mountain with one hand. Not to mention that the glacier melted before it hit the ground. Xian Yi stared at Jun Linyuan in disbelief. Had the Crown Prince just melted an entire glacier with his rage? How furious was he, and how formidable his power was? It was unfathomable. Xian Yi said a silent prayer for Feng Wu. The girl had offended His Royal Highness that much without knowing it. Just then, wait a minute, Feng Sun cried out and pointed to the snowfield down below. What's Yuminji's problem? Can't he run himself? Why is my sister carrying him? She's never carried me on her back. This is unbelievable. Xian Yi's heart sank. His worst fear had just come true. Looking down, he saw that Feng Wu was indeed running across the snowfield with Yuminji on her back. Next to her was a flying tent that had been packed up. Xian Yi's mouth fell open. He threw a dirty look at Feng's son. The guy just wouldn't keep his mouth shut. No, I have to get down there. Who the hell does Yuminji think he is? When will he leave my sister alone? Feng Sun dashed off. Xian, he couldn't bring himself to look at Boss Jun's face. The guy melted a glacier because Feng Wu gave Yuminji acupuncture therapy. Now that Feng Wu was running around with Yuminji on her back. Xian, he forced himself to look at Jun Linyuan. He stumbled back at what he saw. Jun Linyuan looked as if he was wearing an ice mask. His gaze was as sharp as a blade, and he was biting hard on his lower lip. He looked so terrifying. Xian, he had no doubt that Boss Jun would kill Yuminji the next moment. Luckily, Feng Sun got there in time. He dragged Yuminji off Feng Wu's back right away. Feng Wu snapped. What the hell? Feng Sun flicked Feng Wu in the forehead and yelled at her. Exactly how silly can you be? He's a guy and you're a girl. You should keep your distance. After that, Feng Sun threw Yuminji over his shoulder and marched off. Whoosh! Xian, he let out a breath of relief, then stole a glance at Jun Linyuan. He tried to cover for Feng Wu. Why? Yuminji looked so limp, and he didn't even resist. Is he sick or something? Xian, he smacked his thigh. Yes, that's it. He's too sick to walk. That's why little Feng Wu was carrying him. Sigh, she's such a kind person. Still biting his lip, the crown prince stared at the three people down below and suddenly clenched his fists. Boom! Chapter 840, The Crown Prince. 840 The Crown Prince 4. Jun Linyuan smashed the glacier under him. There was a blast. Crack! The impact created another giant pit in the glacier, and ice rolled down in great chunks. Xian Yi's mouth fell open. If he still had some doubts over the cause of that falling glacier, he had just been fully convinced. Boss Jun was unbelievable. Below on the snowfield, thump, 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 large chunks of ice showered down like meteorites. Quickly, with Yuminji on his back, Feng Sun took Feng Wu's hand and ran as fast as he could. He mumbled as he ran. Little Feng Wu, saving Yuminji was your worst decision today. See? You've enraged someone up there, and you're being punished. Feng Wu retorted, No, I didn't. Yes, you so did. Feng Sun rolled his eyes. Everything was fine in the campsite before you brought Yuminji back. But now, everything has been ruined. Look, we have to carry him around while running for our lives. We could get our heads cracked open by chunks of ice at any moment. Feng Sun had no idea that he had actually pointed out the truth. When they were finally out of the campsite, they ran for another 100 miles or so until they reached the next valley. Whoosh! All the candidates were sitting, dazed in the cold wind. They had been so flustered when they fled the campsite that they hadn't brought anything with them. Now that they were safe again, they began to shiver in the heavy snow. Seeing Feng Wu arrive, Mu Yaoyao was disappointed. For a moment there, she had hoped that Feng Wu would die in the disaster. Looking around at the candidates, Feng Sun asked Xianyuan, Is everyone here? Xianyuan, he was considered the future of the Xianyuan family, which was one of the 9 major clans. The candidates had reached a tacit agreement that Xianyuan Yi was their leader. However, the teenager considered Feng Sun his superior. What was more, Xianyuan Yi was trying his best to squeeze into the crown prince's circle. It was just that Feng Sun didn't seem to like him all that much. Brother Feng, we have 63 candidates in total, and everyone is accounted for. We're only missing His Royal Highness and Brother Xian. Xianyuan, he couldn't be any more polite with Feng Sun. He then turned to look at Feng Wu. By then, Feng Wu had removed the tent from Little Phoenix and was ready to set up camp in a spot she had chosen. Xianyuan, he stared at Feng Wu. Mu Yaoyao had been poisoning his ears with rumors about Feng Wu, and as a result, he already had a poor impression of Feng Wu before they even met. Seeing that Feng Wu had taken the best spot under a leeward slope, he frowned. "Excuse me, what are you doing?" Feng Wu didn't remember Xin Yuan much from her childhood, and he was practically a stranger to her now. Since the guy was stopping her from setting up camp, Feng Wu rose to her feet and stared at him. Xin Yuan stared back. "Excuse me, this is the best spot in the area that's away from the wind and the rain. How can you take it for granted that it's yours?" Feng Wu didn't mind where she slept for the night, but Minji needed a quiet and warm place to recover. She had checked the area. This was the only ideal spot. Chapter 841, The Crown Prince. 841, The Crown Prince 5. Mu Yaoyao snorted. "Feng Wu, you arrived last. You don't get to nab the good spot first." Gong Sun Qing chimed in. "You're the only one with a tent here. Give it up already." Feng Wu smiled a little. These people just took it for granted that she would let them push her around. Xin Yuan stared at Feng Wu. He had his eye on Feng Wu's tent, but had scruples because of Minji's status. Xin Yuan still hadn't decided whether to take the tent or not. Feng Sun was baffled by what was happening. Exactly how stupid were these people? Picking on his sister, really? "Hey, what's this? What are you doing to my sister?" Throwing an arm over Xin Yuan Yi's shoulder, Feng Sun scanned the crowd with a smile. "Interesting. Very interesting." "Sister?" Everyone looked at Feng Sun in bewilderment. Since when was Feng Wu's sister? Xin Yuan broke into a cold sweat. Seriously? Was Feng Sun backing Feng Wu up now? Wasn't Feng Sun with His Royal Highness? And didn't His Royal Highness find Feng Wu repulsive? How? "Brother Feng, why is Feng Wu your sister all of a sudden?" Xin Yuan smiled wryly. "Why can't she be my sister? She's my sister because I say so." Feng Sun smirked. "My sister is taking the spot. Are you going to tell her otherwise now?" The others all looked baffled. Exactly what was the relationship between Feng Wu and Feng Sun? Why was young Lord Feng taking Feng Wu's side? Mu Yaoyao gritted her teeth in frustration. She didn't understand it. What do these guys see in Feng Wu? That girl could hang out with Minji, and now young Lord Feng was backing her up. She was just a good-for-nothing. Why? Jealousy gnawed at Mu Yaoyao's heart. Xin Yuan cringed at Feng Sun's stare and backed off. Just then, Gong Sun Qing cried out, "Your Royal Highness." The others turned around to see the tall, handsome crown prince. The teenager walked toward them through the wind and snow, his fur cape giving him a regal, majestic look. Seeing Jun Lin Yuan, the candidates forgot about the cold immediately and all rose to their feet in excitement. Although the crown prince had joined them earlier, they hadn't had many chances to meet him so far. "Your Royal Highness." Mu Yaoyao rushed over to him and said loudly in an aggrieved voice, "Feng Wu was going to take the nicest spot, but we've saved it for you. What should we do?" Mu Yaoyao used the most delicate and touching voice she could manage, and she batted her eyelashes repeatedly in a flirtatious way. Really, Mu Yaoyao didn't expect to get an answer, but Jun Lin Yuan actually replied with question. That surprised everyone. Mu Yaoyao was overwhelmed by the unexpected attention. Yes, of course. Everyone here saw it. "Your Royal Highness, please do something." Mu Yaoyao moved closer as she spoke in a cloying voice. Jun Lin Yuan frowned, and the look in his eyes was devoid of warmth. He gave the order without looking at Feng Wu. "Banish her." Banish her? What was that supposed to mean? Everyone was still bewildered when Feng Sun gave Mu Yaoyao a push. "That's you, you gossip monger. Go away." "You." Mu Yaoyao stumbled and was furious. Jun Lin Yuan smiled wickedly as he shifted his gaze to Feng Sun. He then pointed at Feng Wu. "I meant her." Chapter 842, Romantic? Maybe. 842 Romantic? Maybe one. Jun Lin Yuan pointed a finger at Feng Wu. That immediately silenced everyone. All eyes were on Feng Wu, and Feng Wu was equally baffled herself. Gong Sun Qing was the first one to laugh out loud. She glanced at Feng Wu and said in a taunting voice, "Did you hear that? His Royal Highness told you to get lost." Mu Yaoyao chimed in and scoffed at Feng Wu. "Go away now. Are you going to defy His Royal Highness?" Many others joined in and sneered at Feng Wu. Taking a deep breath, Feng Wu turned to Jun Linyuan. She tried to reason with the guy. "Yu Minji has a high fever, and he's very weak. He needs that place to rest. Jun Linyuan, you know perfectly well why he's this sick." Jun Linyuan stared at Feng Wu in an intimidating manner. "Therefore, please let me have this spot." Gritting her teeth, Feng Wu spoke in a solemn tone. Jun Linyuan only snorted. Seeing that the guy wouldn't give in, Feng Wu stressed, "He can die. I'm not joking." Jun Linyuan said coldly, "All the better." Feng Wu was speechless. She didn't want to say another word to Jun Linyuan. Snatching Yu Minji off Feng Sun's back, Feng Wu turned to leave. "Leave this place, and I'll kill him." Jun Linyuan spoke in an intimidating voice. Feng Wu, fighting back her rage with all her might, Feng Wu trembled from head to toe. Turning around, she met Jun Linyuan's gaze and glared at the guy. "Jun Linyuan, you've crossed the line." She couldn't keep the spot, and she wasn't allowed to leave. Pleading wasn't an option, neither was fighting. Jun Linyuan didn't like her. That was that. However, Feng Wu had to admit that Jun Linyuan was capable of killing Yu Minji if he was really pissed. She couldn't risk Yu Minji's life. At that thought, Feng Wu took a deep breath and forced herself to calm down. She found another spot that was shielded from the wind. Feng Sun quickly set up the tent without her having to say anything. Feng Wu then gave Feng Sun instructions right away. "I need firewood, hot water, ice." After listing everything she wanted, she went into the tent. She was alone with that guy again. Jun Linyuan was so angry that he wanted to kick that tent away again. He stopped him in time. He could tell that Feng Wu was on the verge of losing her temper. The girl would explode if the crown prince pissed her off again. When that happened, Boss Jun's feelings would be hurt even more. "Let me go have a look. Maybe I can help them." He then turned to leave. Seeing that the crown prince didn't stop him, he let out a sigh of relief. The guy had given his tacit permission. Mu Yaoyao saw Jun Linyuan standing there all by himself, and thought that it was a perfect opportunity for her. She inched toward the crown prince, but before she could say anything, Jun Linyuan spun around and left. He left so fast that a chilly wind swept across the area. Instantly, Mu Yaoyao felt frozen to the bone. In the tent, He watched as Feng Wu busied herself with treating Yu Minji. He wanted to say something, but hesitated. He had never been a talkative guy, nor was he in the habit of nosing around, but he just couldn't bring himself to see Feng Wu and Jun Linyuan fall out. "Actually, Boss Jun." Chapter 843. Romantic? Maybe. 843 romantic? Maybe too. He had barely started before Feng Wu cast a stern look at him. Her tone was emotionless. "Mention him again, and you're out of here." Yi's mouth fell open. He had to change the subject to Yu Minji. "How's he doing?" By that, he meant, "When can you leave this tent?" A certain guy would never lighten up if she stayed here in the tent. Feng Wu frowned and shook her head. "His temperature won't go down, and he's in critical condition. I have to stay here tonight to look after him." "Tonight, as in a whole night." Yi's face darkened. "Problem?" Feng Wu frowned. "How about I stay here tonight? Do you know how to treat him?" "No." "Then what good can you do?" Yi's mouth fell open. The girl was so relentless. Seeing that Feng Wu was almost done with treating Yu Minji, he couldn't help but remind her again. "Little Feng Wu, if you think about it, you'll realize that Boss Jun has been very kind to you." If only. Feng Wu sneered at before he could finish a sentence. "So, he was doing me a favor when he told me to get lost? What will he do when he's not kind? Kill me?" "I didn't mean that." I didn't know you were this talkative and meddlesome. I just don't want you two to misunderstand each other." With the two of them falling out, the mood of the entire campsite was affected. Everyone was on edge. There's no misunderstanding between me and him. Feng Wu stared at Xian Yi with bright eyes devoid of warmth as she said, I'll only repeat myself once. There's no misunderstanding about what happened between me and him. Xian Yi finally saw how difficult Feng's job was. Fine, fine. Go figure out yourselves. I've had enough. Both of them were more stubborn than a bull, and Xian Yi was at the end of his rope. He raised the curtain to find Feng Sun outside. Xian Yi patted Feng Sun on the shoulder. Stay in this tent today. Got it? No, I won't. It's an order from Boss June. Really? That's what Boss June said. Are you going to defy him? Feng Sun rubbed his chin. Well, if Boss June wants me to stay here, fine. I'll keep an eye on that Yuminji. June Linyuan wasn't in the campsite, but had climbed a mountain peak. The lower hem of his robe flapped in the cold wind. Xian Yi went up to him and said indifferently, That guy's pretty sick. His fever won't go down. June Linyuan replied with a snort. Little Feng Wu is going to stay in the tent and look after that guy tonight. June Linyuan's face turned livid at those words. But Feng Sun has offered to stay with her tonight as well, just in case his sister needs a hand. Xian Yi saw Boss June's face lighten up a little right away. The guy was still trying to hide his feelings, even now. What was wrong with telling her how he really felt? All of a sudden, rumble. It was a loud noise. What was that? Xian Yi looked into the distance and saw smoke rising from the snowfield down below. Look! Xian Yi pointed at the smoke and looked baffled. Even June Linyuan was alarmed. Before long, a magical beast resembling a white dragon ran out of the smoke and charged in their direction. Chapter 844, Romantic? Maybe. 844 Romantic? Maybe 3. The beast had the head of a dragon and the body of a lion, and a pair of wings stuck out from its back. It was covered in white fur, which was so translucent that it reminded one of ice and snow. When it rolled around in the snow, it blended into the background and almost became invisible. That's a powerful beast. Xian Yi stumbled back when the beast's formidable aura reached them like a blast of wind. It's that frosty night beast. June Linyuan's eyes glittered. The beast landed from above and roared in the direction of the campsite. The sound wave hit the campsite like a tidal wave. Boom! A gust of wind swept across the campsite. All hell broke loose. What's going on? What was that? That sound was so frightening. Everyone looked up at the sky. That strange, snowy white beast was circling over their heads. A frosty night beast. Oh God, that's a frosty night beast. Some of the candidates were more experienced than the others, such as Xianyuan Yi. He recognized at once that this was the formidable beast which resided in the center of Proud Snowfield. The beast then flapped its wings. Whoosh! The candidates, who had gathered together, were swept away in all directions and scattered all over the ground. Everyone moaned in pain. The frosty night beast was as formidable as it was said to be. With one dive, it broke their ranks. It plunged down again and snatched someone off the ground. Gong Sun Qing. Shit, it got Gong Sun Qing. Everyone was astonished. What a beast. It had taken Gong Sun Qing before they could even blink. Gong Sun Qing finally realized what had happened and shrieked. Help! Help me! Feng Wu just finished treating Yuminji, and she walked out of the tent at the noise. The first thing she saw was the frosty night beast taking away Gong Sun Qing. It reminded her of June Linyuan. Back in northern Border City, Feng Wu had been snatched by an eagle. June Linyuan was so merciless at that time. Instead of trying to save her, he almost killed her. However, the guy was no better now. He was as unrelenting and cold-hearted as ever. Only a couple of months had passed since then, but Feng Wu felt like it was a lifetime away. Right at that moment, a figure leapt up with a sword in his hand. His Royal Highness. It's His Royal Highness. He's saving Gong Sun Qing. The next moment, June Linyuan struck at the frosty night beast's paw. The frosty night beast tossed Gong Sun Qing into its mouth. June Linyuan then struck the beast's mouth. Feng Wu saw everything. Because of that, she narrowed her eyes. She couldn't help but recall how merciless Jun Lin Yuan had been when she was snatched. He had never thought about rescuing her. He even tried to kill her. But now, that same person had struck out twice to save Gong Sun Qing. For some unknown reason, Feng Wu felt a lump in her throat. She wanted to cry. In front of the screen, Imperial College. An emergency meeting was being held because of the awakened Frosty Night Beast. Chapter 845, Romantic? Maybe. 845, Romantic. Maybe 4. Of all the 7 members of the Education Board, 3 had gone into seclusion. The other 4 members were all here in the room. They were Grand Secretary Fong, Priest Wu, Xin Yuan Kun, and Gong Sun Lan. Gong Sun Lan was an unmarried female elder of the Gong Sun clan, and none other than Gong Sun Qing's paternal grandaunt. Gong Sun Qing had been brought up by this grandaunt. The physical tryout is too dangerous now. At this point, it's way beyond what the candidates can handle. We have to get them out of there now. Elder Xin Yuan was very adamant. But Grand Secretary Fong shook his head. Feng Wu needed that frosty night beast, and Grand Secretary Fong had communicated with her already. She didn't want to give up. Hence, Grand Secretary Fong insisted, His Royal Highness has led a team into the snowfield. They'll handle that frosty night beast. If the beast is what concerns you, there's really no need. Elder Xin Yuan wanted to object, but Grand Secretary Fong only smiled at him. Do you have doubts about His Royal Highness? Of course not. His Royal Highness is such a powerful cultivator. You have questions about His Royal Highness's capability, then? I'm sure nothing can defeat His Royal Highness. Then what's bothering you? Things turned south in the snowfield while they were still discussing the matter in front of the screen. Gong Sun Qing was snatched. Gong Sun Lan's stomach lurched. No, but just as she was about to rise to her feet, she saw the crown prince strike out. Elder Xin Yuan insisted. It's too dangerous out there. Grand Secretary Fong, are you going to do nothing? Who's going to take responsibility if things go wrong? Gong Sun Lan stared at Elder Xin Yuan. They went in there with the knowledge that it was going to be dangerous. How are they supposed to defend their empire if they panic as soon as something comes up? What other achievements can we expect from them then? Elder Xin Yuan was baffled. What the heck? Wasn't this old hag supposed to be on his side? Didn't she insist earlier that they should get everyone out of there? Why did she change her mind? When Elder Xin Yuan glanced at the screen, he saw the Crown Prince fighting that frosty night beast. Elder Xin Yuan smirked. I see. Gong Sun Lan, that's your plan, isn't it? What plan? Look, His Royal Highness is saving a damsel in distress. The next thing we know, the damsel is going to throw herself into her savior's arms. Elder Xin Yuan snorted. What damsel? What savior? You old fool, and your head filled with filthy ideas. Although, Gong Sun Lan smiled a little. Elder Xin Yuan turned to Grand Secretary Fong with a smile. If I remember correctly, your granddaughter has a crush on His Royal Highness as well. So, Elder Xin Yuan was trying to cast a bone between Gong Sun Lan and Grand Secretary Fong. Gong Sun Lan smiled. Let the youngsters decide for themselves. Plus, didn't His Royal Highness annul his marriage contract before? His former fiancée was that little Feng Wu, wasn't it? Gong Sun Lan didn't pay much attention to Mu Yao Yao. She was experienced enough to tell right away that Mu Yao Yao stood no chance in this competition. As for little Feng Wu, she was such a beautiful girl. Back in the snowfield, after another strike from Jun Lin Yuan, Gong Sun Qing fell through the air. She had just let out a shriek when Jun Lin Yuan lent her a hand. Chapter 846, Romantic? Maybe. 846, Romantic? Maybe 5. Then, Jun Lin Yuan tossed her in Xianyi's direction. Xianyi leapt up, caught Gong Sun Qing, and helped her to land steadily on her feet. Gong Sun Qing was over the moon. With her left hand, she kept stroking her right arm where His Royal Highness had held her. His Royal Highness had touched her arm. Gong Sun Qing stood there in a daze and couldn't stop smiling. Thump, thump, Thump! Jun Lin Yuan and the frosty night beast fought fiercely in the air and were soon out of sight. A hush fell over the crowd. Everyone shuddered when a gust of wind swept across the campsite. Having lost their tents and food, and coupled with the fact that they hadn't slept much last night, they were now stuck between hunger and cold. To make it worse, they had been attacked by that frosty night beast. They were miserable. Feng Wu was the only one with a tent, and many eyed her with jealousy. But because of what Feng Sun had said, no one dared to mess with Feng Wu anymore. Although Feng Sun and Xian Yi had gone off after that frosty night beast, the others still didn't dare touch Feng Wu's belongings. As the head of the team, Xian Yuan Yi did what a leader should do in a time like this. After Jun Lin Yuan went off, he stepped up as commander. The candidates here consisted of 3 teams, and everyone was given tasks. Some went to find firewood, some went hunting or fishing, and some worked as support. Everything was in order. Feng Wu wasn't part of that system, for her top priority now was to cure Yuminji and to treat her own wounds. The campsite was soon back to its boisterous state. "Princess, look, that Gongsun Qing is still in a trance," said Yao Ying, half of whose face was covered with bandages. She now despised all pretty girls and secretly wished to destroy all their faces. Mu Yaoyao couldn't help but look at Gongsun Qing. Gongsun Qing remained where she was and kept touching her right arm with her left hand. Her expression changed constantly, as she smiled one moment and was sad the next. She then bit her lip, smiling shyly. Mu Yaoyao recognized that look right away. So, Gongsun Qing was in love with His Royal Highness. Mu Yaoyao flared up. Gongsun Qing wasn't by herself. Shi Xian, her friend, was next to her. Shi Xian chuckled. "Sister Qing, it's so chilly here at the valley entrance. Let's find a warmer spot inside." Gongsun Qing shook her head and kept looking into the distance. Shi Xian grinned. "Sister Qing, His Royal Highness isn't coming back anytime soon. Standing here won't change anything." With her secret laid bare, Gongsun Qing was a little exasperated. She cast a stern look at Shi Xian. "How does His Royal Highness have anything to do with this? I'm not standing here because of him." Shi Xian said, "Yes, of course. You're not standing here for anything. So, can we please go back inside? His Royal Highness will be distraught if you catch a cold." Gongsun Qing said, "Do you think he really will?" "Of course. Why not?" Shi Xian grinned. "We all know how nonchalant and aloof His Royal Highness is. He never talks to anyone unless it's necessary or helps anyone out. But he just saved you." "Really?" Gongsun Qing lowered her head, playing with a lock of her hair. "Yes," Shi Xian said affirmatively. "Can you remember His Royal Highness rescuing any other girl?" "I don't think so." "That's right. I heard that there was this girl who got snatched by an eagle in northern border city once." Shi Xian was clearly very well informed. "Do you know what happened next?" Chapter 847. Romantic? Maybe. 847 romantic? Maybe 6. What happened? His Royal Highness struck out with his blade without hesitation. He wanted to kill that girl to save himself the trouble. Feng Wu's tent was close by, and she was cultivating as she kept an eye on Yuminji. However, it was so noisy outside that she kept picking up bits of conversation. None of it would have bothered Feng Wu on a normal day, for she had always been able to enter the state of meditation. But now, she realized that she was unable to do so. What was more, she felt agitated. She kept going back to the moment when Jun Lin Yuan saved Gongsun Qing. Thump! Feng Wu smacked herself on the head. Focus! When her mind finally settled, and she was able to work on her cultivation, she heard the conversation between Gongsun Qing and Shi Xian. How frustrating. Gongsun Qing asked, "What? Really?" "Yes." Shi Xian patted her chest, looking frightened. "I was told that His Royal Highness was relentless. He didn't even blink before he struck out. But he just saved you." Gongsun Qing smiled shyly. Shi Xian went on. "So, His Royal Highness must like you a lot. Wow, you're going to marry him. Gong Sun Qing nudged her gently. Stop it. Why, somebody's shy. Hey, don't you run away. Your Royal Highness, I'm so scared. Sure, Xian. Those words unsettled Feng Wu, and she felt so agitated. Just then, the door to the tent opened and a tall figure entered. Before she could say anything, the person said in a commanding voice, Open your mouth. Jun Linyuan. Why was he back? Why? I'm not opening my mouth just because you tell me to. Who do you think you are? Feng Wu glared at Jun Linyuan, reminding him of a little tiger. Jun Linyuan snorted. Are you going to open your mouth or not? No. Resting her hands on her waist, Feng Wu raised her chin proudly. However, the next second, pinching her chin between his fingers, Jun Linyuan stuffed something into her mouth with the other hand. Wretch! Something cold and slimy slid down her throat before she could react. Feng Wu wanted to spit out, but Jun Linyuan had put his hand on her throat. His palm radiated spiritual essence and warmed up that thing. The thing melted almost immediately and reached Feng Wu's dantian within minutes, where it entered her bloodstream and she could no longer spit it out. Feng Wu looked shocked. She stared at Jun Linyuan. What on earth did you put into my mouth? What do you think? It was wet and slimy, like an internal elixir. Yup. Jun Linyuan looked pleased. Xian, he was right. Girls were petty creatures, Jun Linyuan thought. He had just done a magnanimous thing. This way, she would be pleased, wouldn't she? This was the first time that the Crown Prince had ever tried to please a girl. You fed the internal elixir of a magical beast to me. Feng Wu's heart raced. Don't tell me it belonged to that frosty night beast. It did. Jun Linyuan nodded. Feng Wu. She was furious. You fed its internal elixir to me. I had other plans for that internal elixir. You idiot. Chapter 848, Romantic? Maybe. 848, Romantic? Maybe 7. Her top priority here in Proud Snowfield was to get the internal elixir of that frosty night beast, which she would use as the core of her Tai formation. But Jun Linyuan had just fed the internal elixir to her. It was gone. Jun Linyuan was displeased by Feng Wu's reaction. He hadn't even thought about keeping the internal elixir for himself, and had fed it to her himself so that she wouldn't give it to Yuminji. And now, she was yelling at him. Hence, the two of them glared at each other, and the temperature in the tent began to rise. Feng Wu yelled, Jun Linyuan, what were you thinking? You fed the internal elixir to me. Jun Linyuan's face turned livid. He had saved the internal elixir just for her, and she was yelling at him now? He felt so wronged. Feng Wu went on, what good will it do me? You could have given it to Yuminji. He needs extra help. The Crown Prince was furious. Feng Wu glared at him. Quit staring at me. Am I wrong? Jun Linyuan had enough. Staring at Feng Wu, he pointed at Yuminji. Do you care about him that much? He was so mad. He wanted to cut Yuminji into little pieces. Feng Wu snorted. Of course. He saved my life. Jun Linyuan almost had a heart attack. He saved your life? When did that happen? Feng Wu snorted. I'll skip what happened before and tell you the most recent incident. If he hadn't saved me from those Qilin beasts, I would have been killed. Jun Linyuan drew in his breath. Blue veins popped in the corner of his forehead. He wanted to throttle Feng Wu. How do you know it was him? What question is that? It's so obvious. Feng Wu smirked. Who else could it have been? You? Why couldn't it be me? Huh. Feng Wu sneered at him. Your Royal Highness, saving people really isn't your forte. You're much better at killing. Back in North, Feng Wu stopped abruptly. She almost let it slip. If she mentioned what happened with the eagle, she would be telling him that she was that ugly girl. Hence, Feng Wu cleared her throat. Anyway, it won't be the first time you turn away from someone that needs help. I turn away from those that need my help. I just saved that woman. Jun Linyuan exploded. He had done it for Feng Wu, because at that moment, he had turned around to find Feng Wu staring at Gong Sun Qing. Jun Linyuan didn't want Gong Sun Qing to fall to the ground, for the gory scene might give Feng Wu nightmares. That was why he had given Gong Sun Qing a hand. But Jun Linyuan shouldn't have mentioned that, for Feng Wu flared up right away. Not only did the crown prince turn away from her in northern border city, he even tried to kill her. And what did he just do? He saved a girl in front of Feng Wu. Very nice. Feng Wu snorted. That's right. You saved Gong Sun Qing. How amazing. I'm sure you'll win her heart after saving her from distress. Everyone will be talking about it from now on. Jun Linyuan was infuriated. He should never have saved that woman. He glared at Feng Wu. You're impossible. I'm impossible? Me? Feng Wu snapped. You're impossible. Your whole family is impossible. That you're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.